Okay, hey, Alita. Oh, somebody's got to mute their mic. Okay, hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita live stream of April the 8th, 2022. Let's talk about an Alita sequel and series again, where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host, the Muskogee Creek from Denver, Colorado, and my co-host is Angelus. He's from Brisbane and Queensland, Australia. How's it going, Angelus?
Fantastic.
Nice. Glad to hear it. And we have a special guest today, Mr. Mike Reyes, Mr. Controversy 83 from Cinema Blend. How's it going, Mike?
It is going well, and I am glad to be back with you fine folks, especially in the light of what we're going to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. And we are really happy to have you on board, too. So, yeah, we got some pretty cool stuff to chat about today. We did a stream like this, I guess several months ago. It was similar to this, but what we didn't have was we did not have the video of Rosa. And Angelus, I'm going to mute your mic. You're getting kind of bleeding over a little bit.
Privilege has been revoked.
No, his privileges hadn't been revoked. There you go. I unmuted him.
Oh, no, of course not. I gotta spice it up a little bit here. We gotta.
Yeah.
What sort of background noise is coming through? Just out of curiosity.
It was like a real high-pitched twang of some kind, or it almost
I wonder
sounded
if that's
like
my fan.
Could be. Who knows? So anyway, but no offense meant. So anyway.
No, you're right.
So anyway, yeah, we got a lot to talk about today, and we're going to show you a really nice video too, and we're going to actually show it again on Radio Chaos tomorrow too, because this is kind of an important thing. But before we do that, Mike, tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing over there at Cinema Blend. What's going on over there?
Well, right now we're sort of in the middle of covering we've done some Morbius coverage, as you may have already seen on the site.
Yeah.
I was able to personally cover Sonic 2, and we'll also have some Fantastic Beasts and coverage coming in the week to come. So it's still moving along around here, but we were able to get out to WonderCon recently, and that was on behalf of Jeff and Law, two of our intrepid video team reporters. And last weekend, Jeff actually messaged me. He's like, dude, I'm doing a sit down for, why am I blanking on the show's name right now? Undone. He's like, yeah. I'm doing a sit down for Undone. If I can sneak in an Alita question, what should I do? And I gave him like a couple of options, and one of them was like, okay, has Rosa still been in contact with Robert Rodriguez? And, what has she heard about an Alita sequel or series? Because, again, the last thing we heard, at least in a concrete manner, was Robert Rodriguez was hoping after Book of Boba Fett, he'd be able to go in and throw around a pitch with James Cameron for the folks at Disney.
Yeah. And so you gave him some of your sage advice, right, for him to how to kind of inject one of those questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's even if Jeff hadn't been able to get a hold of me, I'm sure he would have been able to throw something real cool up there, because that's just our team's just that awesome. I will say that flat out. Like, we've covered Alita enough that I'm sure if he really wanted to, he could have looked at some of my older stuff and put something together.
Yeah.
But the fact that he asked me for that was really flattering. And again, the work that our team did at WonderCon was phenomenal. And I was so glad to see a message come into my inbox that's like, yeah, here's the footage. And then I didn't get to it until like maybe a day after because it was a weekend. But then when I saw it, it's like, wow, that's a really good answer.
Yeah, it was. Man, you don't know how close I came to being able to go to that WonderCon, because I had a business trip that the folks I was working for were planning for me in Dallas, Texas, that week, the week leading up to the weekend, and I was going to tack that little just tack that little trip down to Austin on Friday afternoon, fly down there and get my ticket, you know, and then go to WonderCon, you know.
Or WonderCon in Anaheim.
Yeah, yeah. And at the last minute, they canceled my trip. And basically, it was a class I was going to teach, and then they converted it to a Zoom class, you know. So I went, oh, man, you know, I mean, I was so disappointed, you know, because usually, you know, whether you go on a business trip or not, you know, you say, oh, I'm not all that excited about it. But when I heard that was going to go on, I was going, oh, man, I got psyched up. You know, I was all ready to go and all that kind of stuff. And then boom. You know, it was kind of a disappointment, you know, but yeah, it was really cool. You know, I think we're going to play that video here in just a bit, you know, just about what Jeff asked Rosa, I guess. And that's going to be a really cool thing to see her answer. So, but anyway, anything, Mike, what are you working on personally right now at Cinema Blend, if you can share that with us?
Well, again, sort of tying off either tying off or ramping up our coverage on Sonic, depending on how that plays out with the readers, of course.
Yes.
And then Fantastic Beast is coming up. I was actually able to talk to Mark Wahlberg and other members of the cast of an upcoming film called Father Stu.
Cool.
And then obviously with the, I'm not going to say renewed interest because it is a continued interest, but the continued interest for an Alita sequel, I had a feature idea that I got approved, which I'll be working on for next week.
Oh, cool. Well, we'll be on the lookout for that one. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's, you know, I know it's been a little while since I've gotten to actually write about something for Alita, because again, we're in this interesting phase where there's obviously still interest on the creative end. There's obviously still interest on the fan end. It's just that middle ground that needs to connect the two and get things going.
Yeah, you get in for a penny and in for a pound, right? When you get into that mode. So yeah, that's certainly true, you know. So yeah, it's been a while since we've outside, like what you were saying, outside of hearing what I guess Robert Rodriguez was going to pitch to Disney, you know, and that's the last we had heard also, you know. So I think everybody in the Alita Army is kind of psyched up about it. I think that thing's been circulating around on Twitter, you know, and I think Star of Alien's actually got he's got the video on his website. So
nice.
Yeah, you know. So anyway, I think he does. I don't know. I'd have to look, you know. So but anyway, yeah, because he kind of put it up there, and we're gonna play that thing again tomorrow, you know, for the audience there. You know, it's gonna be pretty cool, I think. You know,
play it early, play it often, man. I mean, personally, and you know, a little bit of a legal disclaimer: I do not speak on behalf of Cinema Blend itself. I am a writer that is part of the team, but I'd like to think what I'm about to say wouldn't be something they would mind getting behind. I like to thank you guys for sharing this stuff, because that's pretty much, I mean, look, that's the big reason why I keep thinking about Alita, besides being a fan, and that's the reason why we keep writing about it. Is because there is such a passionate fan base, and that fan base includes the people that actually made the damn movie, and we want to see it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we do. We all do, and you're going to see in the video too that you know, that we're not the only ones that love Alita. You know, the folks that are actually, like you suggest, you know, that the folks that actually helped put that together and acted it, that they love it too. You know. Before we get to that, though, I just want to say one brief little thing, and I think Angelus is going to cover this tomorrow in the news. But today I was kind of honored to participate in a kind of a meeting in which I guess Tilly, Lockie, and Blotty actually presented a bionic arm to this boy, you know, that he was born without one hand. Oh. And we kind of did that, and that was really moving. I really loved it, you know. So anyway, but we're gonna, you know, Angelus is going to talk about that more tomorrow in detail. But Blotty's out in the chat, so and we really enjoyed doing that thing. It was, you know, I kind of, this is difficult for me, but I kept my mouth shut the whole time. So
wow.
Yeah,
someone give this guy a medal.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And then you know, and then after that, of course, we got to get on there and, you know, say hi to folks and and I was really happy for that kid. He just really, you could tell he said he was never going to take that arm off. So yeah, it was pretty cool. So anyway, yeah, but Body's out there, and I want to thank him for kind of being a big part of that one. So.
Also, hang on, am I? Yep, all right, cool. Just make sure I'm not muted.
Yeah.
Also, without having a negative connotation attached to it.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to movie reviewers and critics, I noticed they, for the most part, like almost have like an equal positive and negative sort of, reception, I guess, to the general public.
Yeah.
And one thing I've noticed about, and like I'm actually trying to take Mike out of the equation here for a second and concentrate on like the rest of the team that he mentioned, is that everyone's passionate about something. Like I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that they hated anything, or they didn't like it because of this or that. They just simply focused on what they loved.
Yeah.
And like in recent years, if you want to put it that way, it's a shame that it feels like it's become a rare thing.
Yeah.
And like in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, these guys are sort of bucking the trend. And then for some unknown godly reason, I call them like the Alita of movie reviewers, because Alita did for like manga and anime adaptations what Cinema Blend is doing for movie reviewers. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, I just don't seem to find that many people with like like I said, I'm not just talking about Mike. I think Stephen Child, like at Child Dirk, a couple of other people, and like even like I've seen some Cinema Blends movies, like Jeff that's running the videos. He seems to be like a upbeat fellow as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah, we're going to see that in the end of the video too. I mean, Jeff is actually an Alita. I don't know if he's an active Alita Army guy, but he loves Alita, I think. So it was really cool to, what he said at the end too. So, but we're not gonna spoil that for everybody. They'll be able to see it. So, oh, I'm sorry, Angel. I didn't mean to butt in on you like that. You know how the creek is; he can't keep his mouth shut sometimes.
No, and like I do have like a couple of questions for Mike after the video, but it's more like less questions and asking like what your opinion is as like someone that deals with movies as a as part of your living.
Yeah.
I'll be glad to take these questions as always.
Cool.
I mean, again, it may have been a while, but it is not because I have disliked any of my experiences with you guys or with Radio Chaos. It's been busy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yep. Yeah, I hear you. Well, too, for Mike too and Cinema Blend, Elite is not the only thing they concentrate on, nor should it be, because there are a lot of good movies. There's no doubt about it. And the fact that they are as passionate as they are tells me that, hey, Alita Battle Angel is a great movie, and it's right up there with other movies. So that's what it kind of says to me. So anyway.
So you could say Mike had no time to die.
Oh. Yeah, we can talk about James Bond a little bit later, I guess.
You could say that he's going to be going supersonic.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, just playing all the hits here.
Yeah. Okay. I guess on that note, I guess we'll just go right ahead and move into this.
It's rock and roll.
Yeah, and just to set this up, basically, I started to say Alita, Rosa, and the cast. The two other members of the cast were there in Austin, Texas, and they were, they're kind of there for the WonderCon, in which they had like a breakout session, I guess it was, wasn't it, Mike? Something like that on Undone, and Undone, by the way, I would highly recommend that folks see that. It is a really good series. I mean, I binged. I don't say I binge watched it all at one shot, but I watched all 8 episodes in 2 days. I mean, it's just really captivating. It's a really super good series. But anyway, what they were there is just they're talking about it and stuff like that. And then you're going to see Jeff come in. He's going to ask the question. So here we go.
It's mind-blowing. And it's like very rare for actors to be, I mean, not rare, we all love to smell our own farts, but like it's rare for us to be looking at something that we did going like, wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
This is
so
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so proud and I'm glad this is out there. I haven't said that about all my stuff. Yeah. Y'all know my resume.
I love Alita.
I mean, I have said that about Alita. Alita Army. What's up, Army?
Robert Rodriguez is currently working on Book of Boba Fett on Disney+. There's a rumor out there that if that went well, he was going to pitch an Alita series to Disney+. Have you heard anything about that? and have you even spoken to Robert since that first film about moving forward?
Yeah, I harass them all the time. Like it might become a legal issue soon. Well, I was I email with James Cameron a lot where I'm just like, how are you? And like, how are the avatars? And like Alita. Yeah. And he's always like, I'm so down, which is crazy to hear someone like James Cameron be like, I'm so down. Yeah. And when we were in South by Southwest, I went over to Robert's house and had tea and was just talking about Alita. And we, all three of us, has so much love for Alita. It's never outside of our line of vision ever. Everything we do, we're just sort of like, how do we get back there? I mean, we all three of us took jobs with Disney. I made like a little show. They're doing Star Wars and Avatars. It's the same. But we're trying like hell. We're trying like hell to get her back out there because we know how much, just like this, her story means so much to women, to young girls, to boys, to everybody. I mean, I think she represents something that transcends race, gender, all of that. So we're working on it, man.
I'm super
working on it.
I'm happy to hear that.
And that's our queen. As you can see, Alita is still current with Cameron Rodriguez and our queen Rosa. So it's really exciting, and it's like, as they say down south, this dog's going to hunt. I think that's kind of the way it kind of goes there. So anyway, Alita Army, we have a lot to kind of be thankful for and that kind of stuff, because if you get these 3 folks that are behind it, and they are, and you heard her say that that harasses Disney all the time. So, and that's a really big positive right there, I think. I think that, it's just, well, I mean, it gives us hope, for one thing. So any comments, Angelus or Mike?
Well, Mike, pretty much most of my comments, it's more like, while we've got Mike here, it's like, I guess I'll like, ask his opinion, because I know so little about the world of movies and movie making. Like, I'm a consumer, of course, but yeah, I just know so little about the whole process that, like, the only jargon I know is like pre and post production. That's like the only words, and that's it, sort of thing, And even then, I don't even know like the full definition of what it means. And so yeah, all of my comments are more like, what do you think of this? What's your opinion on that, and etc.
Like a show host would do.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess I'm doing my job then.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Well,
my only. Oh, go ahead, Mike. You go ahead.
no, you first.
No, no, I want you to go first.
No, I can hold this thought. You go.
All right. Yeah, my only experience with doing anything like that is I was executive producer on a couple of film festival films, and I was actually in one of them. But that's about it, and it's pretty small stuff compared to what these folks do. So yeah, it's and once you do anything like that on any scale, it's a lot of fun. It really is, and I kind of in my own mind can kind of extrapolate just how much these folks love Alita. I mean, you can just see it in Rosa's response. She really loves Alita. So anyway, go ahead, Mike. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, it's no problem. It was really me cutting you off, so I apologize. But anyway, yeah, what really sticks with me is the fact that the moment Robert Rodriguez mentioned that he wanted to do another pitch when Book of Boba Fett had premiered. It brought me back to the story that he told in 2020 during a panel at, I think it was San Diego Comic-Con, back when they were doing all the all virtual festival that year.
Yeah.
And he talked about how he and James Cameron put together this 45-minute pitch to the Fox execs to say, hey, we want to make this, and this is how we're going to do this. So the moment that he said, oh, yeah, if this works, I'll start another pitch, I wonder if he has written the pitch yet. Because even though, he has to at least have some sort of skeleton, I would think. Because it may not be a full-fledged 45-minute pitch. He might have some sort of scaffolding, like they obviously know where they want the story to go because they planned a trilogy.
Yeah.
And there was that huge I think it was like the 600-page document that Robert Rodriguez basically distilled into a script and then cut it into the first part. So it's not like they wouldn't be able to get this going at an accelerated pace if they didn't want to. The thing is, has there been some sort of interest? Has Disney shown an interest?
Yeah, I would say with Robert, and I think just kind of estimating in my own mind that he would have to probably do some research of some kind, and because he's not going to just go into a meeting like that and just be all grins and giggles and have pretty pictures on a PowerPoint presentation or something like this. If you're going to pitch something like that to where where a Disney is going to invest money into this thing, this has got to be, he's got to have his serious data has got to be in line. He's got to really, have, as they would say, his ducks in a row on this one. And he's got some leverage now, I think. I think he's got leverage with the Book of Boba Fett being successful and that kind of thing. And they got a lot of folks watch that, watch that series, So, my gut feeling is, and you heard Rosa say, or that the question was that from Jeff, that he had heard that Robert Rodriguez was going to pitch an Alita series, type thing. So, and it kind of made me think, and Mike, maybe you can comment on this because you certainly know the movie industry a lot more than Angelus and I do. But it occurred to me that perhaps what he might want to do is take this in a phased approach. In other words, okay, I'm going to get a good Alita series, going first. And then once that happens, whenever I get a successful Alita series, that gives me even more leverage, to get an Alita sequel, on the book. So what's your thoughts on that, Mike?
Well, I'll start out with the general ass covering, saying I do not know Robert Rodriguez. I cannot speak for the man himself. I can merely guess. But what you're putting forth here, I think, is a smart move. Because what you could very easily do is you get an Alita limited series. Maybe you just focus on the motorball journey that she goes through between the flash forward at the end of Battle Angel. Mm-hmm. You get that going. You build the world, you build the intrigue, you use the resources that you already have, and then if that does well enough, you go into the next films. Like you don't mess with anything that comes after the movie. And whether he meant to do it or not, you have that wonderful chunk of time in between that you can mess around with a series.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. You know, it certainly does. So,
And that's, you know, again, I have to wonder if the meeting has taken place or what sort of circumstances are needed for that meeting to take place, because I know Book of Boba Fett was a hit to an extent, but I wonder how successful it was according to Disney Plus's metrics. And also in terms of social media reaction, I know it was a very hot or cold show with people versus Mandalorian, which seemed to mostly be on the positive side.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that plays into everything too, where, you know, Robert Rodriguez is going in this sort of different direction. And, you know, you have people every week talking about how, oh, there's barely Boba Fett in this episode. There's barely this.
Yeah.
I don't like
the online reaction was so annoying.
Yeah, like eventually it's going to get to the point where Disney's probably thinking, okay, if we announce this, like they're probably wondering what the worst social media reaction would be. And it might just be a whole bunch of trolls posting like the spin move from like the finale.
Yeah.
Well, I
love
actually
that
haven't watched Book of Boba Fett yet, but even seeing that clip, it's like, if you know Robert Rodriguez, that is his style. That is his action. Like,
Yeah.
Where's the problem here?
There was so much fun in that finale, and that was a fun part too. The spin. Hi guys, by the way. Hi Mike.
Oh yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Let me
Bloody.
welcome Bloody 777 or Bloody 99 or whatever he wants to call himself now.
Any
He's
number
from
will do, as long as it means something.
Yeah, he's from the UK. So anyway, welcome aboard, Bloody.
Thanks, Creaky.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it's nighttime. It's nighttime for you. Ooh.
Yeah, it's late. I might not stay that long. Might stay till midnight. We'll see how it goes.
But what's also really interesting to discuss amidst all of this talk is the fact that while we haven't heard anything from Disney, Robert Rodriguez has a good friend in Netflix. Because not only does he have the We Can Be Heroes sequel that he's still working on, but now that recent announcement that he's doing or involved somehow in a Spy Kids reboot is that's pretty good news, especially because it wasn't too long ago he admitted that Spy Kids was actually a pretty big hit on Netflix.
Because it's got so much nostalgia for like millennials, I think.
Yeah, it is definitely getting to that sort of.
And they're getting all their kids into it as well.
Yeah. So
that the Spy Kids reboot, I think, will do well, just like We Can Be Heroes.
Yeah.
That kind of market, isn't it?
Yeah.
Alita's kind of a different market. It's more serious.
Yeah, that's definitely more of the earliest is maybe a tween would go for Alita, but that's definitely like that is a PG-13, probably 18 to 35 demographic that they pursue with that. Or maybe like a slightly younger, like maybe a 13 or a 14. Like basically you got your teenagers, because in a sense Alita's character is sort of that adolescent presence where she, you know, her body may be several centuries old or several millennia old, that, you know, she still has the mind of a young person, and she's still going through that sort of process of self-discovery and self-actualization and falling in love and everything else. And that's just the kind of stuff that, you know, young people can latch onto.
For sure.
It just happens to have really sweet action and some pretty awesome villains.
Yeah. It's like, it's more badass than Spy Kids and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, Spy Kids is badass in its own way for kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Even there, they would throw in things, sort of things here and there for the adults. Like there's that one gag that everyone loves to quote from Stevie Buscemi about like a just god and the existence of, like, I think it was those thumb creatures. It's been a while since I've seen Spy Kids, but I know that there's quite a few memes out there.
Yeah.
If I'm just thinking, if and I do hope that it does really well. If he does do well with the Spy Kids reboot and the We Can Be Heroes sequel, you know, I feel that Disney would just be shooting themselves in the foot because, you know, a large, from the little that I know, a large part of their market is like the kids and very, very young teenagers. And, you know, he's like got a proven track record of being so successful in that sort of market. And then you look at such films like from his earlier works as far back as Desperado to Sin City, and then now to Alita, that he can do like young adult movies as well. I just feel like he's so versatile that he's got the Midas touch that they'd be stupid to let go of him if you know, if the worst should happen.
Yeah.
He makes entertaining stuff, and like even Boba Fett, it got a lot of like the fanboys got mad about stupid things, most of them.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it did quite well in the ratings, so
Yeah.
people were entertained by it, and lots of people liked it. I was communicating a lot. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, I
Every
did
episode
too.
I was hyped for. I thought it was really great.
Oh,
I'd rather
yeah.
take a wild swing and maybe a bit of a miss than just playing it safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he sort of prefers that anyway. Make something that from your heart, you know.
Oh yeah, that's
Some people don't like
always
it.
been the
some don't.
Rodriguez playbook. Sometimes you get shorts, and sometimes you get Once Upon a Time in Mexico. And
Yeah.
I will leave it to the good folks in the audience to decide which is the better and which is the worst. But you know, he runs the table with studio partners and with concepts, and you know, he's still got a Netflix movie that's coming out at some point, Hypnotic.
Yeah.
Is that a
And
Netflix movie?
I believe that is a Netflix movie he did with Ben.
Oh, I didn't
Affleck.
know that. But that's good. It's the Ben Affleck one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I'm looking forward to that. That's a serious adult thing, isn't it? So
Yeah.
that would be and Spy Kids. But
Yeah.
I like Spy Kids is cool, but obviously I prefer the more grown up stuff.
Yeah, one of the things I think it's positive here is that I kind of agree with Mike in that when you look at the Book of Boba Fett, when you consider it's not IMDb, but it's a Rotten Tomatoes score, it wasn't awful. You know, it was in the 70s, I think. So I think the audience score was 70, I think, and that's not bad. That's successful, but it's not as hot, you know, as some like Alita's score. You know, Alita's audience score is 92. I mean, that's really good, you know. But my thing is that I think the more successes, and I would consider the Book of Boba Fett a success. There's no doubt
Overall,
about
I'd
it.
agree. Yeah.
The more and more successes he has like that, and shows his ability to bring money in, you know, with movies, I think the more leverage he has, you know, to be able to, you know, convince Disney or whoever else it is, you know, if they sell the rights, which I'm not sure, I don't think they will, but or at least not anytime soon. But you know, the more he has like that, I think the more, you know, kind of persuasive ability he's going to have to convince whoever it is he's trying to get to you know, do an Alita series sequel or whatever.
Yeah,
That I think it's going to be a big plus. I think he's going to have that kind of leverage, I think.
Yeah, I think things are shaping up well. The key is obviously Cameron, though. He's the main player in all
Yep.
this. And I'm like 100% sure he's like buttering up executives behind the scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty still very helpful.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe if they're like the pitch is happening, so I think maybe we were a bit too optimistic. He said I was going to do the pitch after Boba Fett, and we thought, okay, the day after Boba Fett comes out, then we'll pitch it. These things take time.
Yes.
And
yeah, no, that would have only come if Boba Fett was like a record-shattering hit, and it did okay when it debuted. But another thing I kind of want to put out there as a potential sign for Disney's interest is the fact that we do not have Alita streaming on any platform except, I think, DirecTV in the US has it for their subscribers. But if Disney was really keen on it, I would think they'd want to do the same thing they did with Kingsman, with Nightmare Alley, with West Side Story, with Free Guy, and they would basically buy out whatever agreement is left for that film. Because normally the pipeline went, movie be released, it would go to HBO and then stream on HBO's platform. It would go off, I think maybe it would go to Cinemax for a little while and then go off. and then it would go somewhere else after that. And we're past the the HBO Cinemax window. I think we're past the FX window too, because they did have a deal with them at one point.
Mhm.
And now it's just kind of this limbo where it's not streaming on any major platform, and
Yeah,
I
so
have to
weird.
wonder why it's not, and why Disney hasn't put it on the Hulu already, or well, Hulu in the U.S., but it'll be on Disney Plus, Star, and all the other
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
affiliates
got it
around
here.
the world that get all the cool stuff boiled into one.
Yeah, it was on Hulu for a little while, and I know if you get on it now and you do a search on Alita Battle Angel and click on it, it says we don't have that available yet, is what it says. When you do that, because I went and looked, and it's not but they do have it listed, but they don't. You're right, it's not streaming. But I think the fact that they did have it some time ago on there tells me that at least they see some value in it. So.
Well, I think it would be smart if they were thinking about doing the sequels, just to wait until they've officially greenlit it, and then put it on with a big hoo-ha about the announcement. That will bring lots of buzz to it and get lots of new people watching it, because they're like, oh, this one's getting a sequel, I'll watch it now.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a creative way to get another bite at the apple, and
Yeah, give it a
I
second wind.
you know what? I wish there could be some repertory screenings of Alita in theaters again, but I know Disney is a little gun shy when it comes to that, so I would just really be happy if they brought it back to streaming. But
Yeah.
God, yeah, it's annoying I didn't get the re-release in my country. So sad. If I could just see it again once more in IMAX, my life would be complete.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, not to derail the conversation, because this applies more directly to Avatar, but I would also apply it to a potential Alita sequel. What's going to happen when the IMAX release for Avatar 2 or any other like Cameron Rodriguez 3D movie comes up, and IMAX as a format has kind of turned its back on 3D? What's going to happen there? Especially in the case like Avatar that's going to be a real big question.
It's because James Cameron is the only one who can like do it well. Everyone else in Hollywood has let them down.
I disagree. There have been some really good post conversions.
Yeah.
No Time to Die was a really good one.
Which one?
No Time to Die.
Oh, okay. I saw that in 2D.
Yeah, not only do they have a 3D, I think the Chinese release had IMAX 3D, and that was the one that I was like really jealous of.
Oh my God. That.
Yeah.
Oh.
The opening even in just regular 3D, the opening gun barrel, you like fall into that picture in 3D, and it was just stunning. But the people that seem to be most invested in 3D right now are any of the Marvel movies, because Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is coming out. It's like the first 3D movie in months, except for DreamWorks' The Bad Guys, which is going to be in 3D. But even there, it's in very limited 3D from what I've seen on my local listings. And projects like Avatar and Alita have always had a soft spot for that medium. And I just wonder what the future will be like when they come out, and will there be a big push for 3D? Because even with Free Guy, like Disney was hot on promoting that, even though it was a 20th Century Studios acquisition, but the 3D was limited.
Well, go on, Angelus.
I was going to say that's a question. If the 3D kept on putting out solid numbers, even in the limited screens, if you will, however many that they allocate, would they extend the screening time just to sort of milk the money that was made, if that be the case?
I think that major studios on the whole are going to be very keen on maintaining unless it is a massive hit, they're going to be keen on maintaining the 45-day theatrical window and then going to streaming as soon as possible.
So yeah, you could be right. Avatar 2 could be like the make or break moment for 3D.
Oh, it definitely. Avatar 2 could be a make or break deal for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Because while it is technically a franchise, it is a series that for the most part, pop culture has not engaged with for over a decade.
Yeah.
And you've got people on both sides of the fence, right? Just like the first Avatar, there's some people saying don't doubt James Cameron, which I don't doubt him. It's the crowds that I'm wondering about. I don't doubt that James Cameron poured technology and storytelling prowess. And while I was not, I was okay with Avatar 1, I will admit that there was a lot that went into that, and you cannot deny that whether you like the result or not, James Cameron puts everything on the screen. That said, I wonder how the reaction to Avatar 2 really will go over. And again, someone pointed out in the chat, we're probably going to have to wait for any news on an Alita sequel, the future of 3D, or anything else until Avatar 2 starts to spin the wheels, get into theaters. David Watson, that's the person I was thinking. I think that was the person I was thinking of, because I saw that comment before. But yeah, Avatar 2 is going to be, you know, just like Alita and Avatar kind of had that handoff where money that was spent on development, on technology and like even technicians and key personnel were sort of flip-flop between the two projects. I think if Avatar, I agree with the sentiment that if Avatar 2 does well, there will be a potential investment in further Alita, because it's just, at that point, it doesn't feel like you're putting out a huge budget out just for Alita. You're using the stuff that you've furthered along with Avatar. Yeah. And all you're doing is just giving a green light to go ahead. Like, that's more money in the bank for future avatars and everything else. Like, that's one of the things that's so great about James Cameron being locked into this. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling here. I'll end.
No, go. You got the floor.
The great thing about James Cameron being so involved with Alita, even as just a producer, is he developed that story. He read that manga. He fell in love with that manga. And then gave Robert Rodriguez the keys that day in the parking lot when he's like, how would you tell this story? Yeah. And the clout that man still has is obviously good enough to keep the flame burning on this. And it's the resources and the tech and basically the confidence that he gives to it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, it seems to me, Mike, and maybe you could educate us on this too, but I guess the production cost for 3D and then let alone 3D and IMAX combined is going to be really expensive compared to just your regular old run-of-the-mill movie, isn't it?
It could be. I mean, I don't remember the specific details on how they shot Alita. I think they did shoot it in native 3D.
Yeah, they did.
But they just didn't shoot it in native IMAX. Now, if they want to shoot it in native IMAX, that might be a little more expensive, but, well, I don't know how much more expensive. I'm sure there's a premium on it. But even then, they're probably going to use the digital rigs, which at least you don't have to worry about, you know, all that IMAX film going in there like a Christopher Nolan movie. But obviously, you're going to have a premium on the technology. I would like to think he would try to shoot it in native IMAX 3D if possible. But yeah, hybrid brings up a good point, and it is definite. Like, as much as James Cameron has developed cinema and 3D, that glasses free technology still has not come any closer. And honestly, that's probably going to be another thing you throw onto the pile of Avatar questions after Avatar 2, because if Avatar 2 does well enough, then maybe 3D you'll see another boom. Because again, what's really interesting about it is Avatar 1 comes out. 3D was like in its infancy, and that was the movie that sort of threw gas on the fire. Yeah. Now we're coming to Avatar 2, and fire's dimming a bit. Might be able to respark it, but again, I hate the waiting, man. We can only speculate so much. You just gotta wait.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll see, as they would say. You know.
I'm hoping Disney works some marketing magic and like goes hard for it, because they've got so much invested in it. They kind of have to, and they've got the theme park as well.
Oh yes,
and so
yeah, I'm sure that was phase 1 to them.
Yeah, and alongside Cameron, obviously, hopefully making like an amazing movie. I'm hoping it'll do, you know, high 1 billion, like 1.89 maybe. We'll see. Hopefully.
I mean, it was popular enough to, I know it wasn't too much of a threshold, but it was popular enough that when they re-released it in foreign markets, it jumped over Endgame again.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it's the #1 movie now in terms of gross, isn't it?
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm going to look that up to become more informed.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I looked it up, I guess, about 2 weeks ago, and that's when I saw it. It had moved ahead of it. So.
Yeah, like it was just it was like it was literally like a squeaker because it was that small window. Yeah, like Avatar now sits at 2.85 million and Endgame sits at 2.8, and that's just rounding up.
Yeah.
But still, the gap between the two is small enough that see, that's another question to ask off topic. If what Marvel movie would be able to even come close to
Endgame? Yeah.
Because
I don't think anyway.
Now you said 2.85 billion, right?
Yeah, billion, rounding up. It's like actually, if you want the full number, it's $2,847,379,794 versus versus Endgame's $2,797,501,328 with a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah.
And you look at Spider-Man: No Way Home, that was probably people were probably hoping for that to get close. It topped out at about 1.9 billion.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, that's still mind-blowing.
Oh yeah, well, come on. I mean, we people of the common folk would certainly love 1.9 billion sitting in our pockets.
Yeah, we would.
I mean, I know that the Disney board is often used to handling larger amounts of money, and they're probably that they're gunning for that. That's their job. They're the ones that are used to billions coming in the door. All I'm saying is, worldwide audience, if you want to give me $1.9 billion, I'll be fine with it. And I'm sure everyone else here would be fine with it as well. Make your check out to cash. We'll give some sort of tote bag, I think. I'm a real bad pledge driver. I'm sorry. I'm not in that mode right now. I will not do a pledge drive.
Yeah, Finestro has a good thing for Alita sequel. Alita No Way Home.
If only. Wait. Okay, so they own Fox. They own Marvel. Marvel has to put out an Alita comic so that way they can say Marvel's Alita No Way Home. And then you've got the marketing mojo right there. That just there you go. That's the. I mean, I know it's cheating, and once everybody goes to see the movie, it's the title card's still going to say Alita Fallen Angel or whatever they do decide on the name. But yeah, I mean, we got to get sneaky. Well, minorly sneaky because it's only sneaky by title marketing. The movie's still going to be the movie that everyone expected.
I'm pretty sure Cameron would never let them do that.
No. Clickbait for movies. Yeah.
Oh, that's the I would say the closest thing that actually exists to that is like the 8-minute or 5-minute clips from like the opening of movies.
Yes.
And then the beginning and the end are usually buffered with like the beginning has that little clip where it's like clip starting in 3, 2, 1. Clip starts and then it ends quick and it just goes to the trailer.
Yeah, another thing Hybrid brings up too, and comparing the cost, the gross for Avatar with Endgame. Endgame's relatively recent, and Avatar was, that's over a decade ago. So, when you factor inflation in here, it's probably Endgame. I mean, Avatar is probably going to be over, $3 billion probably, in 2010 dollars, let's say.
Oh, I am actually going to calculate that right now because the internet is a wonderful place.
Yeah.
Well,
while you're calculating that, Dizzy brings up a really good point in that what makes Avatar the more uniquely successful is because it's a new IP, much like Alita.
Mm-hmm.
And
new to an extent. I mean,
yes, it's the overarching story is like I've seen be compared to Fern Gully, which ironically enough I think is a Disney property.
Mm-hmm.
Now that they bought, it was originally Fox, but now that they bought it, yeah.
Or like the interaction between the Na'vi and whatnot.
Yeah.
They could be akin to Pocahontas. But
Well, yeah,
I mean,
Dances with Wolves thrown out there too.
Yeah.
but yeah, the fact that the Marvels are still a direct adaptation, whereas this is like taking elements, but it made its own unique story, I guess, is maybe what he was aiming at. That, and the fact that it still beat out Endgame,
Yeah.
even just by that tiny amount, is just phenomenal.
Well, it's mind blowing. Yeah.
It's interesting because it obviously was helped a lot by it being like the 3D movie. Like it had a bit of a gimmick like that, but and now it's coming out at a time when 3D is totally fading. So it's just interesting to see how that plays out. It might bring it back. We'll see.
I mean,
Like
that
it did
is
before.
one of the big questions sort of nailed to the corkboard. And Avatar sparked the 3D boom once before. Can it do it again?
Mike, do you think they'll cancel Avatar 4 and 5 if 2 and 3 do badly?
I honestly don't know if they can at this point, because I know 2 is pretty much in the can and going through post. 3, I think they filmed most of it, if not all of it, and that's also in production, in like post-production. I think he may have even shot part of 4. I don't know.
Oh, okay. He's done it very smart then. He's just made sure to do a little bit of all of them so they can't cancel them.
Yeah, well, no, if I remember correctly, the reason they shot a little bit of 4 is because there is a plot jump. There's a time jump in the middle of 4 where Jake and Carrie's children grow up. So they had to shoot the kids. They had to film the kids now, so that way they had them as youngsters, and then they go back later because they can take a little more time to get back to filming for 4 and 5 because it's later in the timeline.
Yeah.
James Cameron, if I'm wrong, you can personally DM me on Twitter and tell me that I am wrong. I will be fine with that.
Well, according to IMDb, Avatars 2 and 3 are in post-production right now, and Avatars 4 and 5, they're filming right now.
I wouldn't be surprised if they are filming to a certain extent, but probably I can never remember if they actually did fully greenlight the next 2 or not, because I know there's been sometimes they'll say they haven't greenlit them yet, but then other times you'll have like investor meetings. Like, oh yeah, those other 2 are greenlit and going.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's that wonder, and they already have the release date staked out. Like that, the whole thing, the massive plan that they had was Star Wars and an Avatar every other holiday season, every other December.
Yeah.
But Star Wars has already fallen off that bandwagon because, if I'm not mistaken, oh no, it hasn't fallen off yet, because Rogue Squadron could still make it to next December, even though that's another big question mark in the sandbox of Disney properties.
Was it Solo, a Star Wars story that sort of nixed their plans for Star Wars theatrically?
That it didn't nix anything so much as they stopped doing spin-offs like that, because I think what they really wanted to do with Solo is maybe continue to tell the young Solo story at least for one more movie. Again, that's just me assuming things here and playing armchair quarterback, but
it's crazy that Alita made more money than that.
Yeah, well, Solo's another one that I will gladly
big Star Wars movie,
because Solo and Rogue One were both just fans.
Yeah, they're the best ones of Disney Star Wars.
Yeah, like those 2 and The Last Jedi were the ones that I really got behind, and I know that's a controversial statement depending on who you talk to, but I loved Last Jedi. But somewhat to sort of bring us back on topic, I know I'm not a host, but I just saw a comment that was intriguing.
You got it, Mike. Go for it.
Yeah, we do this every week. You can freely take over. It's absolutely fine.
You guys need to talk too. It's part of the fun. But someone mentioned an Alita VR game.
Yes.
Oh, God.
I really, really, really want to know why they didn't think to do a game for this. I mean, maybe it's because of the fact that the Avatar games were okay or like lukewarm received by the people. But Alita feels like something that is open. That feels like something where an open world sandbox or maybe an MMORPG would be perfect.
It's such a waste because you've got the perfect protagonist for a game in Alita. Where Avatar, you don't really have that.
But you can still the whole thing is you can still make one for Avatar. Like,
but you've got Alita written, and all the game elements sort of write themselves. You can like upgrade your cyborg body. You can do hunter warrior, bounty hunters and stuff. Embrace a modable. There's so many like things, or like the game's basically writes itself.
Yeah, I mean that's if you do just a straight ahead Alita adaptation in video game, or even just like an Alita based game. But if you're jumping into an MMORPG, then you would be able to have people customize their cyborgs or be a human bounty hunter. And you know, like your main lobby would probably be the Kansas bar, and then you just go from there to different servers, different locations. And I'm sorry?
I was just going to say, I'd rather have like a third-person open world thing like Horizon Zero Dawn kind of game.
Oh, I would love that too. And that's another way that they could be telling this story.
Yeah.
Like, you could I mean, look, we have ideas for days here. I know it. I mean, I would love for Pat Cadigan to be able to write another tie-in novel.
Yeah.
Sequelizes, and you know, she could do another prequel novel, or she could do the Motorball Chronicle as like a first draft.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, there's nothing the woman cannot do because she actually adapted William Gibson's first draft of Alien 3 into a novel.
Oh.
On top of just building the Alita framework with her tie-in novelizations, which, you know, I would just like to see more of those. And again, I hate to keep bringing it back to Avatar. We were supposed to have novels for that too.
Were there no novels for that?
Not yet. There are comics, and I think at one point Cameron said he wanted to hire a writer, or I think he wanted to write the novels, and then later on they said that there is someone writing novels for that world.
Oh.
But even that could have changed because it's been over a decade since Avatar 1.
Yeah.
Well, I'll bring it back to Alita in the using the segue of Avatar reigniting the 3D market. But when it comes to, I guess, even just reigniting the Alita fan base that has pretty much grown since then, that's an undeniable fact. I mean, Vladdy himself, it's like almost his sort of like niche purpose in the fandom where like anyone that ever tweets saying that they've, you know, why haven't they seen it before, you know.
There's more coming now than ever, basically.
Yeah.
Agreed,
and
John, agreed.
And
as well, they're like, why have they still not done a sequel?
with her WonderCon interview, what do you think was the like key features to take away from her 1 minute 45-second answer?
First of all, that's probably more time than most people have given to Alita in a while. But then again, that's because a lot of people probably aren't asking after that sort of thing. Whereas, you know, my colleagues love to, again, like I have said before, I love thinking about this and trying to write about Alita for Cinema Blend because it's something that I'm passionate about. But also, they really like to talk to fans. They really like to do things for fan bases. We had great success with sort of tapping into the Snyder Cut movement.
Yeah.
And again, thanks to you guys and whoever else reads our Alita content, it's done well for us. And anytime we can get in there, we want to get to it. And I am going to wind back to the actual question here. I know I'm under oath. But I think what Rosa's response says, again, as an outside observer, is she is just as passionate and as hungry to get back into this as James Cameron is, as Robert Rodriguez is. I know we've heard Christoph Waltz in the past say that he would love to go back into it. I think she is true to her word that she will play Alita in any context for as long as she can. And that sort of dedication is something that you shouldn't pass up. And I know, some people don't want to get typecasted, and obviously would never want to see Rosa Salazar typecasted as just Alita, because she's obviously gone on to do other work and other projects. And, Undone is something that, again, looks fantastic and just so different from what she's done.
Yep.
Beautiful show.
But the fact that she is such an expressive performer that any medium has been able to sort of use that to its advantage is something that, again, that's another feather in the cap of getting back to Alita.
To me, it's so clearly like a dream team of creators that I just can't believe they still haven't greenlit it yet. But I obviously know the financial situation. But I feel like the art should overtake that a little bit. But for Disney, it doesn't seem to.
Yeah, but I know as much as we all as fans like to say, why haven't they done this? Why haven't they done that? It still sucks because to a certain extent, the studio is probably looking at certain equations and wondering, okay, we would love to do this. They might be thinking that, like, we love to do this, but we're a business. What direction should we go? What is the best way to go? How far can we go? And I know that sort of decision making in the worst case scenario leads to very safe product. It leads to some things getting rejected or being trimmed into certain boxes. But at the same time, I mean, as someone who's covered the industry, I understand that it's something that it has to be a business decision as well as a fandom decision. Otherwise, who knows what happens. I mean, there have been whole movies that have shut down studios because they were in most of those cases, they were smaller outfits, like animation outfits.
Yeah.
You guys remember Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within? That closed Square Pictures in a heartbeat because it didn't do the numbers. It went on to kind of become reappreciated to a certain extent, but you never saw another Square picture again.
Yeah. It all comes down to a risk-reward question, doesn't it?
Yeah. And again, I bet if you put the right solution in front of the Disney board right now, that checked all the boxes, we could get more Alita. But the big question is, what is that? And to a certain extent, would the fans accept that? Like, I'm looking at this list of things you want to talk about here. It's like, well, which of these options would be the best? Do we?
Well, I got several slides on this too. So
okay, you know what? We've been holding up the slides for too long.
No, it's all right. I don't
getting
mind.
cold.
I don't
Go
mind
on
at all.
Do it live.
Yeah, that's right.
You people are dreading inviting me here, aren't you?
No, we're not.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, we're not gonna probably ever invite Bill O'Reilly to this stream. So
I don't know if I would ever want to be on this stream, to be honest. And again, this is a very safe, very in the middle answer. I don't think the man has watched Alita Battle Angel. And if he has, then, Mr. O'Reilly, maybe tweet me and tell me your thoughts, and I'll share them with the rest of the group.
No, don't. They'll call us far right again if you do that.
Yeah. I bet Bob Seska has, though. So I don't know. So anyway, getting back to Alita. There's just some ideas that I threw together, about what we might want to see in the second movie. The thing to keep in mind, too, that all of these folks have to think about is that when they're putting movies together like this, they got a ton of content to look at. Now, how are we going to organize this? All of this stuff we got, how are we going to organize this in such a way that we can, kind of effectively portray this in a 2 to 3 hour time slot, you know? And that, you know, really, when you think about it, that's a pretty tough question. When you think about how big the manga is, both not just the original manga and the Last Order, but even the Mars Chronicles. You know, I mean, that's a lot of stuff, man. That, I don't know how many. It's on the order of almost 40 volumes, I think. So, I mean, holy crap. I mean, there are encyclopedias that aren't that big, you know?
Well, see, this is where the Marvel approach would benefit. The best thing about the Marvel approach would be to look at all of that, dive deep into it, and then figure out what goes to series, what goes to movies.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at Motorball right now, and since we talked about a series before, that would be a great series.
Yes.
Well, do you mean an animated series or live action?
I would love for it to be live action.
Yeah,
to be
I
honest,
would
but I'm not against an anime because obviously the character has roots in that. But I would think if you keep it live action, it would better mesh together if we're going to go with the sort of shared universe sort of thing.
Bloody expensive though, Motorball live action series.
What about taking?
I don't know if it would be that expensive if you consider it an investment on other sets and other characters that'll come back. I mean, you mentioned Jashugan right here.
Mm-hmm.
Jai Courtney was one of 3 people that basically accepted that role because of the promise of, hey, if this goes anywhere, that's going to be a big character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of those things you definitely have to capitalize on with wherever you go next, because Jai Courtney, Michelle Rodriguez, and Edward Norton were all on that same boat. And it would be a shame to lose any of them, because even in their limited capacities in Battle Angel, it was fantastic. They were all fantastic.
Although Nisiana bit the dust, so I don't know about you know, Rodriguez.
Oh, I want Nisa Gonzalez to come back too.
Rodriguez is desperate to bring her back.
Yeah,
he'll find a way, I'm sure of it. Rodriguez will love
something. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, she's
a cyborg, so why could maybe her face is like her face and voice is like some kind of template, like a standard beauty cyborg.
Exactly.
So she comes back like that.
I mean, one of my favorite. I'm sorry to interrupt. One of my favorite memories of Battle Angel was her whole delivery, her whole scene in the alley.
Oh yeah.
Toying with Christoph Waltz and Rosa, and then even just that one part where she spiders up the wall, and you have sort of the trademark, like, I don't want to call it wonk, but the way her face looked on that body was not perfect CGI, but it wasn't crap. It was Rodriguez's visual flair, like a Spy Kids movie.
Yeah.
This is not
and then she hisses at her. She goes when she's on up there like a spider.
Yeah, it was just it's one of those memorable moments, and then just the fight that comes after it.
Yeah, and the music as well. I love the music. It's awesome.
Yes,
so much intensity.
Tom Hulkenborg, who has Sonic 2 out this weekend and did a fantastic job on that music again.
His soundtracks always slap, Mr. Kid.
Yep.
Yes. Kids, this franchise slaps, kids. You gotta watch it.
Exactly.
I want to see Alita. I want to see her playing in the Kansas bar. I want to see her sing, and because Rosa can sing. She can definitely.
I know, right? I need to see Rosa do that with every fiber of my being.
Oh, God.
And then we get to see the behind the scenes of her playing, and it'll just be amazing.
Yeah, it would. You know, that would be the coolest thing ever.
I can just see it now. There'd be at least one scene similar to the Star Wars Cantina of Rosa on a synthesizer. I mean, being Iron City and like cyborg technology. And then maybe as a special features on the Blu-ray once it gets dropped, you know, she could even be jamming with Rodriguez in the background.
Yeah, he'd do that. He's always playing like well, his like voice was in the first movie and stuff. So, and I think he played an alien or two in Boba Fett. So I can see him being a cyborg in the background playing music with Rosa. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
This just reminds me of the fact that I missed out on a visit to Weta when they were promoting Alita, because there was this big invite where you've probably seen plenty of the videos where like they had Dylan in the mocap suit playing the guitar and like becomes a weapon. Like we had the invite, and I was given the opportunity, but the thing was, I didn't have my passport at the time.
Ah, Mike.
So I couldn't do it, and I was so mad after watching the movie. I
Yeah,
was mad to begin with because it's like, okay, I missed out on hanging out with Robert Rodriguez in mocap gear.
Yeah.
I'm mad at you.
It's like, I'm even more upset.
Yeah, I saw all those videos. They're all pretty funny. Because some of the journos are not like most fit guys, and they're all like they're in the tight bodysuits and they're walking around. It's quite humorous, but it's all good fun.
Yeah, I think that was another one Jeff actually did for us. So just Jeff doing the magic.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
Love our team.
Oh, you've reminded me. I was going to ask you, Mike. So so Jeff asked about Alita at the at WonderCon. Do the people who they're interviewing, do they get a heads up about these questions at all? Can you tell me that? Is that not allowed?
From my knowledge, no. Like that is the room is recorded as like in real time. There isn't like the only time I've seen a request for like pre-approval is if they're doing like a concept for a video, like a game or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all those games where it's like, okay, what would you rather do, this or this? Like those sorts of things, you have to get approved.
Yeah.
It's just like straight ahead questions. You don't have to get them approved. However, there will always be a gentle reminder, keep things movie focused, stay away from this topic, stay away from that.
Yeah.
I was curious.
Guidelines.
Yeah. I was curious why she wasn't asked about Alita once at SSXW, but then at WonderCon, like quite a few people mentioned it. I just don't really know.
I wonder
what the difference was.
It might just be the atmosphere, because South by is always like that grungy sort of indie movie vibe, whereas WonderCon is more of a comic.
Yeah, more like a sci-fi convention thing. Yeah.
I've never been
that could be it.
I've never been to either, but South by definitely is geeky. It's a different strain of geeky. It's a different sort of thing.
I've always had it in my head that there's some kind of like stuff going on behind the scenes where the journalists will be like said, okay, now you can ask Rosa about this because we have something we want to say, and to get it out to the fandom. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, no, it's basically like we're putting in that work to think up those questions, and then it's just you race the clock to talk about the current project, but also get that other exciting stuff in there.
Yeah, and it made sense naturally just because of the Boba Fett rumors with Rodriguez saying they were going to try and pitch it after that. So it all worked, made sense.
Yeah, I was just thinking something too about Mike, what you were saying about Motorball, about it being in a sequel. A thought that occurred to me is they could do a series on Motorball of her playing in the second league. Because in the movie, at the end, she's the second league champion at the very end. And they could do a whole series on all of her matches and her journey, that she goes through it, playing in the second league. And that would kind of mix in real well with the movie, I think.
Yeah, and then you don't have to touch anything from the future. You just stick with that gap that's in there. Yeah. And then if it does well enough, you go and you jump into the next chapter.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that in live action, but I think that could work really well as an anime. It's like a really kinetic, fast-paced anime. I think that would look really cool.
Kind of like what they...
Yeah, and because it's not carrying on from the end of the movie, I'd be happy with that.
Well, it would be kind of like they did with the Matrix. They did the animation that way. And that worked out very well.
Yeah, slightly different because they were sort of like individual short thingies. But
that was an anthology.
Yeah.
Well, that one story though about the Osiris, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They mentioned that in the second movie. I guess it was.
Oh yeah. And that was the only other thing to come out of Square Pictures.
Yes.
Was it?
Yeah. They did, that was the last thing they did before shutting down, I think, was they did Final Fight of the Osiris.
That was a pretty good way to go out. I like those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Alita playing in the second league and how she got to be the champion, because you remember at the end of the movie, the announcer says, she has progressed through the second league in only a few months. Well, good God, there's a few months right there of story they can tell,
Oh, yeah. And then if you really want to, you could probably build more Nova into there too, especially since he's so wrapped up in the motorball to begin with. And you keep Edward Norton involved that way because, you know, you could probably see him scheming behind the scenes trying to figure out, okay, how do I put this girl down?
Yeah. Well,
someone needs to ask Edward Norton about Alita. He seems kind of like Nova, his actual personality.
Yeah.
Like he never says anything. Someone should just ask him. Like,
I've actually had the opportunity to talk to him. It was not about Alita, but I did get to talk to him. He is a very cool, at least in my experience.
Yeah.
I had a great experience with him.
I love Ed Norton.
Very reserved, a little bit reserved, but very much willing to answer, especially if you ask him about the process, because he was promoting Motherless Brooklyn at the time, which he starred and directed and adapted.
I loved him in The Bourne Legacy. That's a good movie. How he played that guy that was after after Adam Cross, that one spinoff. Yeah, he was great in that movie, I think.
I think Death to Smoochie is one of his most underrated movies.
Yeah. I do think that Edward Norton, he's friends with James Cameron, isn't he? It seems to me he is.
If I'm not mistaken, he was offered a role in Avatar and turned it down.
Yes, yeah, that's
right. Much like Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Just kind of wild when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. Turned down a James Cameron movie, especially Avatar, the biggest grossing movie in history.
Oh yeah, but nobody knew that.
Nobody knew it then. That's right. Yeah. So wow.
They shouldn't have doubted James Cameron.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I don't know how true the source is, but I was told that it was because Norton wanted to play Na'vi character, and at the time, all the main Na'vi characters anyway were already cast.
Yeah.
I
And
think that sounds familiar.
And you didn't want to have someone as talented as Edward Norton playing a random Na'vi that, has a 20-second cameo sort of thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he had a Darth Maul-esque sort of time frame in Alita, but I mean, I don't know. It's as if he had some measure of input into how Nova was portrayed when Nova took over various characters, Gruishka and Vector being the two main ones.
Yeah.
That was another thing that really impressed me. Mahershala Ali is just and Jackie
Well, he's
both impressive to begin with.
He's a great actor. God Almighty, he's good.
Both of them are, and to have them both sort of mimicking Edward Norton in their own way, because it's not, they're not trying to use it's not the voice that they're going for.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the speech pattern. And that's what's so unsettling, especially in that last scene with
Yeah.
When he dies, he doesn't even have consciousness in his final breaths. It's all under Nova's control. It's really creepy.
Yeah.
I see everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of sent chills up my spine when he took over Gruishka the first time I saw it. Then he took over Vector. I was going, God Almighty, that just makes my spine creep up. It's wow.
The ultimate mind control.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking too about Alita too, in that there's a whole big time story about Zapan in Alita 2 about how he takes up with someone named Sarah, which is actually in the manga, that's Murdoch's daughter, and which would be McTeague. He'd be McTeague's, that'd be McTeague's daughter, and how he then, he goes through what he does, and he, I guess, in a fit of accidental rage or whatever you want to call it, he kills Sarah, and it just sets him off, and you could kind of do it like they did the first movie, where you had that Zerker Pan arc, and then you could also kind of merge a little bit of the motorball in there with it too, because that's what sets him off, seeing Alita on the big screen playing motorball, and that just his brain just goes off. You could do the same thing here in one movie. Now, I would say about Alita 2, I want to see a 3-hour movie on this one, not a 2-hour movie. I mean, I'd watch.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that either, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'll see a 6-hour movie like Cameron wants now.
Oh,
exactly. That's what I want.
Yeah.
He said he wants to make like a simultaneously release a 2-hour cut of the theatrical and then like a 6-hour version on streaming. That would just be perfect. They could have like 20-minute scenes of like just Alita like playing the violin. I'd love all that gratuitous
oh my God,
CGI techno, techno fetishy stuff. It'd be great.
Hell, they could make it a 12-hour movie. I'd just buy me a Stadium Pal and watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
That is definitely where streaming would come in, because that's what. Oh, I did not mean that. I did not mean that gag, but you can play that as you may. That's similar to what Tarantino has done with some of his movies. I mean, I'm still waiting for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to get its extended cut that they every now and then discuss, or hell, build the whole bloody affair.
Yeah.
Disney wants like quality content.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they don't greenlight the sequel. I mean,
they got it.
Let's be real. I know we have to be respectful around other stuff, but I think Alita as a franchise is a lot less like tired, and a lot of them have just been milk dried and been going on for decades. Alita is so fresh, and they've got like the most talented people behind it. Just seems mad to me, but I'm just an idealist, I suppose.
Well, you and the rest of the Alita Army, because I know that's what I want. I want them to do this.
Yeah, we're trying. It's not just for us; it's for the whole of culture.
I just love what Rosa said at the end. We're really trying, man. We're really trying. I love that.
They're trying with all their heart, and so are we.
Yeah.
But
I feel that the whole story just is so versatile in the directions it can go, because I was just thinking when it comes to animated series, they could take if we want to keep on calling them approaches, Star Wars Rebels, for example. That was an animated movie of a story that began as a trilogy of live action movies.
Yeah.
Or you could go, for those that have seen it or are even aware of it, Kate Beckinsale's Underworld did it. Fast and Furious did it, but like some of their movies actually went back in time, lore-wise or story-wise, and they could do one big one.
I was saying, especially Fast and Furious took that approach.
Oh yeah, and they could I guess flesh out the lore behind the actual movie itself in the Wars, and still have that as an opportunity to pay homage to the Mars Chronicles, which manga-wise is precisely that. It actually goes back to Alita's childhood and how she even was conceived, in a manner of speaking.
Well, they would they'd have to tone it down though, I think. So there's a little bit of a creep factor in there on that one, but I think that since it is about Alita, except all of it except maybe chapter 2, of the Mars Chronicles, or the second book rather. They could kind of make that a kids oriented thing, and kind of soften it a lot, and still have Alita in there, and they could, they could appeal to kids that way, So I mean, when you think about the franchise as a whole, the entire manga, look at the breadth that you have there, holy crap, you could appeal to anywhere from kids, to old folks, seriously. So, I don't see why they can't do that,
Right. Just reading someone's tweet. I was catching up on my patrolling. Just got out of Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Which one?
This one about John, Odd John put out there.
Oh no, I was talking about something else.
Not that.
I just find it funny. I'm just looking, and then suddenly I see at the bottom it says, "I haven't joined a movie since Alita Battle Angel. Only all movies could be not woke. It's just like such
Yeah.
a ridiculous thing to say.
Yeah, John wants to see more of a dark Alita, and I think that Fallen Angel, you could see that. I mean, certainly she playing a musical instrument in the Kansas bar is going to be a little more lighthearted, but once they get into the Zapan arc, you know, I mean, they could make that extremely dark if they wanted to, you know. So
it's definitely going to be darker, the sequel, than the first one. But
yeah,
she's
I
lost
think
all that wide-eyed optimism, which is kind of a shame because that like made the first like bit of the so beautiful, the way she was like taking in all the delights of the world and all the beauty of it.
yeah.
And now she's seen how dark it is. The sequel's going to be a lot darker, which
It
will
did-
obviously please the like manga purists who were like,
Yeah,
oh,
it did get
far too much
a
color
little.
in this film.
It did get a little darker at the end, didn't it?
Well, that's the point. It's like
Yeah.
intelligent storytelling where you start off.
Yeah,
You see the world through her eyes. So it starts off bright and colorful. The birds are singing when she first opens her eyes. It's all beautiful. And as it progresses, she goes through her arc, and it gets darker. But
yeah,
yeah,
yep.
They've certainly got the creative minds behind it because, again, bloody, you know, I loved Sin City for that exact reason.
Oh yeah,
Like, it didn't pull any punches.
yeah,
And it had, like, multiple different stories with multiple different characters, too. Which
And
just
lovely.
simply lends even more credence to Rodriguez's ability to tell a story. Like with so many different characters, like Zapan, like what have you got on the thingo? Chaos, Den, and then now with the new slide, you got K Ruler, you got Nova, you got so many goodies and baddies, and all the ones in between as well.
You know, there's that one piece of artwork, I guess it's also in the manga, about all of the people in Alita's life in the manga. And it's just, you know, she's standing out in front of them, you know, and it's just like, God almighty, it's like a whole city is behind her or something, you know. I mean, it's just a bunch of characters they can draw on. And, you know, honestly, when you look at all these arcs here on this particular slide, I don't know how you could get all this stuff, considering what we had on the previous slide. I don't know how you get that all into 3 movies, which kind of plays to my point of I want to see like 6 movies or maybe 7, you know, something like that, you know, because I mean, that is just how much content there is in the manga. I mean, it's literally even, you could, I don't know how many movies you could shoot on the manga, just using the manga, you know.
All depends on how your writers pace it.
I guess so, yeah.
we need to get later back on.
Yeah, and get her on the Radio Chaos stream, maybe.
See how she do it. We
Yeah.
could have a whole stream for her just talking about how she adapt the sequels. That would be really interesting.
Oh, if that happens, let me know. I would love to sit in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll make sure you get an invite then if that happens. Because you missed when we interviewed her before, didn't you, Mike? I think you did.
I know I listened to it, and I think I might have like at the last, like maybe last minute, like the week of, was like, so is there any chance? And it's like, you know what, this was planned far in advance. It's how shows go. You can't just jump in unless you're like, you know.
Later was
Except for
great.
Ricky's stream.
She also later also liked the fact that it was a purely fan thing as well.
Yeah. Yes, she did.
Not that you sitting in would make it any less pure, because you're obviously an Alita fan, but you do work for.
At the same time, you know, you don't.
You know what I mean? You work for a news place.
Exactly. Like at the same time, you don't want to like scare someone off. It's like, so even though they're a fan, they're with the press, because automatically it's like, okay, are you a fan?
Yeah.
Or are you just sitting
Yeah.
there? You want us to?
Well, you noticed she knew who to ask. What was the favorite line in the movie, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was cool.
I have to go back and listen to that again. That was a nice extensive deep dive that just I don't even think I don't think I fully absorbed it with one listening, and just it was really cool to hear all that sort of eking out on those details.
You know what was neat about her too is the fact that, you know, when we started that stream out, she, you know, I guess Maxie wanted to, you know, he wanted to skip the news, you know, so we could get to her interview, so in case she wanted to jump off, you know, and immediately says, "Oh no, no, no! I want to see the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great, man." So
When she said that, though, I was like, "Oh no, you don't know what you've just asked for."
yeah,
The
exactly.
news drags on
But
forever.
she was great, man. I mean, she hung in there with us the entire time.
Yeah, how many people get to be in a stream with the one of the big players of their favorite movie of all time? It's
Oh
insane.
man, yeah,
So
yeah,
kind
it
of her.
was great.
Really
Maybe
Yeah,
Cameron will come on next.
yeah.
So DM Cameron.
Oh, that'd be a real catch if we could do that. Cameron or Rosa or say Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of Elon Musk doing Texas stuff. I really hope he meets up with Rodriguez and they talk Alita. I think there's a lot of good cross promotion they could do with Tesla and all that.
Yeah.
And he's all obviously into cyborgs and stuff. So
yeah.
Well, he's into technology, big
exactly,
time. Yeah.
it's a perfect matchup. And he obviously tweeted
Yeah.
Alita, but Disney didn't really jump on that either.
Well, that last bullet there is what Creek wants, an Alita cinematic universe. Let's call it the ACU, We
No,
steal
I don't
some
want us to
thunder
be like
from
that.
Marvel.
I want Alita to have a nice trilogy, maybe a couple of series after that, and that cover everything. And then that's it. You have perfection, cinematic perfection, including the TV series. They'll also be cinematic perfection.
Ironically enough, most of my questions have already been answered. But one that just popped up that we can get Mike's input on is that what would you take an educated guess on what would come first, whether it be a sequels or the sequel trilogy of movies? Because I mean, like I can see, I wouldn't say argument, but I can see the pros and cons for both. Like using the series to promote the movies, and then
Yeah.
the reverse of having the movies and then seeing how popular they are, and see where those movies can expand to, whether it be like animated series, whether they even do more movies on top of that, or go into other mediums of merch, whether it be games or literature, books, etc.
I
But
think, yeah.
For sure.
but yeah,
That would be nice.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I think that the more that I'm thinking about it, the more I think that Motorball Second League series would be a great way to of rekindle interest. Tell a story that tell a story that could be told without messing with the sequels, but also gauge interest of people and how they want to approach this going forward. Because maybe they think that maybe after that they realize that they want to do a series and just want to keep adapting through an episodic approach. But what I would really love to see happen is they start with that series and then they go into the films, and then you do what like they were supposed to do with the Dark Tower, and you go back and forth between the films and the series, and you keep adapting.
Well,
it all ties together.
I know from a slightly more experienced and knowledgeable standpoint, they do that with a lot of anime series, especially in Japan, where they'll have manga volumes and animated series and arcs, and then after like 2 or 3 arcs, they'd have like a movie instead of like what they call filler episodes, and then after that movie, they continue on with the next arc after that. So I guess that could be a thing as well, where they could develop the Motorball series, continue on with the movie, and it depend where the movie finishes off. Who knows?
Yeah, I think another thing too they could also pull off is they could concurrently run Alita series, one being the Second League Motorball series, and the other one being at least part of the Mars Chronicles that is toned down for kids. I think they could do that. They could pull that off, I think.
Kids hang on.
Yeah, I mean, it works for Jurassic Park.
Sure it
They
did.
have the Camp Cretaceous show going, and that actually is just as good as the films that it's supposed to link into.
Yeah. Yeah, they could do
So
it.
that, yeah, I mean, come on, we I think most of us here come from a generation or adjacent to a generation where Aliens, RoboCop, and Rambo had toys and animated series. So really, is there really that much of a line anymore?
I don't know how adjacent I would be to that, Mike. But I can tell you that
didn't you?
well, I can tell you this. I never owned an action figure of any of them until I bought a Hot Toys Alita. That's the last. That's
fair,
you know,
fair.
Seriously.
Well, going back, trying to appeal to both the younger and older audience, I have to draw upon my own experience. When I was 10 years old, I went to, hang on, was I 10? No, I think it was like 8 or 9. When I was very, very, very young, Creaky was probably still a grandpa age at that time. My dad took me to go watch the very first Ninja Turtles movie. That was,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Jim Henson had a hand in that one. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
And that first movie, that was yes, it was spawned from like the cartoon series, but that was kind of dark looking back. You got Splinter being kidnapped and had to just beaten up, tortured. You had his surrogate sons that were just lost and wanting to just go nuts.
And eat pizza.
The action sequences in that, they didn't hold back either. You
Yeah.
could probably see abrasions and cuts on the actual turtles themselves as well. And
Excuse
I
me,
don't know.
there's someone at the door.
That's a
Again,
good movie.
It's similar to Alita in some aspects, in terms of you see Romo getting his face smashed in, but it happens off camera, or you see Tanji get cut in two, but it's dark that you don't really notice a whole lot of blood spilling everywhere, unless you're actually looking for it. But I was just thinking back, as a kid, I didn't really pick up on that, although maybe I was oblivious to it. But I wonder how dark they could go without pushing the boundaries of what's the word? Not censorship. Is it censorship?
Sensibility, maybe. Huh?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
but if that just leads into another one of Rodriguez's strengths, because I feel if anyone can get away with that, him specifically
Yeah.
could do that the best. Because not just because you rated PG, just because you allowed one F-bomb, doesn't mean that you have to put one in there somewhere. But
Yeah.
but the fact that he did that and timed it so well, as an example,
I just wish they wouldn't even have to think about that and just make whatever they want. Just Elon Musk could just give Cameron $100 million and just say $200 million and just make whatever you want. Make a 3-hour epic.
No, we don't want to depend on Elon Musk money to get this done.
Yeah.
Elon Musk is too busy wanting to go to Mars. He's
yeah, he's got his own mission of getting our girl home.
Although I do think he likes Alita. I think I've seen some tweets that he has liked and stuff like that.
Well, Alita Army owns Twitter now, so
it seems
he's Alita Army. He's got the most Alita probably tweet maybe.
Yeah.
So he's the guy, and he owns Twitter. So we own Twitter.
He only has 9% of Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Fine.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't ruin it, Mike.
He's got 1/11 of it. So yeah, like 3 billion shares. You can do the math. Mike, I was wondering though, one thing we have talked about on some previous streams is that, one of the things that they did with Alita, of course, to make her come to life was that mocap stuff, and it was excellent. But we've also talked
Oscar
about,
worthy.
yeah, but
Obviously.
yeah, but
The craziest decision ever. Sorry, I'll start ranting. I'll stop. Go ahead, Mike.
It's
Go
all
ahead.
right. It's all right. But one of the things we did talk about is that kind of coming up with that look on her face being produced like what they did with Luke Skywalker. I mean, granted, the mocap is going to be better,
Yeah.
But Luke Skywalker, the way they did that, it was pretty good. I wonder if they could cut their cost for this by using that technology. Or, and another question to follow up on that, would James Cameron even consider that?
No, I don't think so.
No, he's going to want to go proprietary all the way.
Yeah.
If you're getting any bang for your buck, it's going to be the same process as before. It's going to be Avatar tech feeding into Alita tech, which feeds into Avatar 2 tech, which feeds into Alita 2 tech.
And he said, like, I remember in like a Weta video, Cameron said it's all about getting the like close-ups right with all the different emotions. Because if you can believe the close-ups, then you'll believe her, which they totally succeeded in that. But I think if you had a whole movie with that kind of tech that made Luke, it just wouldn't work. Because Luke was I was like really amazed by it. He looked really realistic and stuff, but he obviously didn't show much emotion. That was just part of his character. He was supposed to be stoic there.
And they didn't do a lot of really
like the opposite of Alita.
They didn't do a lot of close-ups of his face either. I mean, they did a couple, but not a lot, did they?
Every time he spoke, it didn't quite look right. Whereas Alita, it just looked fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's because you're not trying to make a photorealistic person. Alita has those exaggerations and that animated quality.
Maybe.
You're allowed to do that versus Luke Skywalker, who has to be Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
True.
Specifically, Luke Skywalker in 1980, whatever, however many years Mandalorian took
1977.
She did look
83 Hamill. At the very least, it's 83 Hamill because it's right after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But she did look photo-real, though. She obviously had the enlarged eyes, but all of her skin and everything looked like almost practically human. So I think it's fair to compare them. Yeah.
My next question can go out to all the panel members, but going back to Alita's effects, again, it didn't bother me that much, but I did notice the eyes first and foremost, and not because of the trailers either. But in saying that, it was easy for me to, I guess, ignore it in the context where, like all the other aspects of the movie just totally enchanted me that, I forgot that her eyes are not normal sized or like the way that we would call normal.
Yeah.
But my question, I guess, would be, like at the time, obviously the very first time I saw it was in cinema, and obviously with the big screen right in front of me, and I like to sit right in the front, so everything's just giganticized for me. I guess I feel that I noticed it less because my mind might have attributed back to the fact that, oh yeah, it's just part of the cinema screen making it look big. Like, I mean, was it like that for you guys, or?
No, for me, I really had no issue at all with the eyes. I didn't really watch many trailers or anything before. I just went and saw it almost like totally blind. I just watched it. I thought, oh wow, she looks amazing. But I do know, I can tell what people mean. Like they always use, even Cineblend, they use the picture of her looking up at Motorball, where she's like, she's in a sort of dramatic like she's not shocked. It's like it's kind of a neutral thing. They could pick so much better pictures of Alita to use in the promotionals. I think 20th Century Fox really dropped the ball in choosing the pictures they use for it. Like in some of the pictures, she looks so natural and like really beautiful. But in that one in Motorball, where they always use it for the promos, she doesn't look as, she still looks fine, but she doesn't look, the eyes don't quite look as natural as she does in a lot of other scenes.
Yeah.
But in motion, it looks perfectly natural. Like I said, I had no issue with it when I watched it at all. I was like, when afterwards, when I was looking it up, oh shit, this movie's amazing, and I looked, I was like, everyone was like memeing about the eyes, and then I saw the first trailer was dodgy, and I was like, okay, that's probably the main reason, because to me, like, I had no issue with them at all.
Yeah, Angela, since we lost Mike, you want to repeat the question for him?
Oh, did we lose Mike a little bit?
Yeah, we lost
Mike. Your question.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike's the connection cut out for some reason.
Yeah, what was the question again, Angelus?
Basically, my question was I did notice the eyes, but I felt that for me anyway, because it was in a cinematic experience, at least the first time round, I felt like I didn't notice it as much because everything else was, larger than life. And I was just asking everyone on the panel, including yourself, was that the same case, or like what was it like for your first viewing?
I think the fact that I'd seen it in the trailers prepared me for it. But even without that, I had no problem accepting it because I knew that it was being adapted from a manga and an anime. And characters get to be more exaggerated. And if I have a choice between really cool digital effects that can widen someone's eyes or a dye job and a costume that kind of looks like something from an anime, I'm going to go for the digital effects. Like, the problem... And this is just me as like a casual anime fan, not like a hardcore like stand for it. I mean, I love anime to death, but the thing with live action adaptations is the live action part. You have to get a little more fantastical with it because that's why it's an anime to begin with. You need to spend the money on the effects. You need to let her eyes be big. I like the fact that they made her eyes bigger in response. Because it's like, do you think this is going to put people? I was like, no, make them bigger.
Yeah, he was like, he said, fuck the haters, Cameron.
Yeah.
And he was right, but sadly, he didn't get the film didn't really get the recognition it deserved.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw her eyes, I mean, I saw the trailers and they really didn't do anything for me. I don't want to see a teenage girl fighting cyborgs and androids. I don't want to see that. But when I did see it, I finally, saw it on HBO. And when she opened her eyes at the first time, my reaction was sort of like, "Oh my God, how beautiful!"
Yeah, in interviewing I was at, there was a couple, like a young couple of seats to the right of me, and the girl in it, she whispered when she opened her eyes, she whispered, "So pretty."
Yeah.
And so like obviously most people do not find it off-putting at all, and I think that's fake news when people say that.
Yeah, I do too.
It's because it started out as a meme, so it's a lot of like Reddit sort of edgelord community that are like pushed that really hard, and obviously the critics and stuff sort of ran with that too.
Yeah, I really loved her eyes. First time she opened them, I thought, God, that is so beautiful. I mean, it just knocked my head off.
It's like mind blowing how like real it all is. It's really amazing.
Well, there's definitely
Mike, I wanted to ask you something. We just mentioned critics. How come like none of them seem to be interested at all in an Alita sequel? And surely if they love cinema so much, surely a James Cameron like franchise with this kind of character with Rosa Salazar as the heart of it would get them a little bit excited. But you practically never see them tweet about it at all, even when there's like new rumors and stuff. You rarely see anyone say, "Oh, I hope this goes ahead" or something like that. Do you have any theories about that?
I think that's a thing that would have to be evaluated on a case-by-case basis because some critics, while they may be fans of Alita, may not hound after the subject too much because they don't think that it's something that's going to yield a lot of interest. I mean, it might also just be because of the fact that some outlets may not have as much of an interest in their readership as someone like a Cinema Blend or like another anime-based website would.
For sure, yeah.
You kind of have to go for what you feel is what you feel is feasible, but also what your audience wants to read.
True. I feel like Twitter is your personal opinion, and I don't know. I just feel like if you're into cinema, you should be into Alita personally. That's obviously me because I'm biased.
Well, yeah, but that's just sort of what makes criticism what it is the difference of opinions, and
Yeah.
I mean that's just basically what you need to do is find the critics you vibe with and just basically consult with as many of them as you can, because obviously no one critic is going to be the sort of god tier over everyone else.
Yeah.
The community,
Absolutely.
in the community, you have to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I find interesting is the disparity between the critic score and the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. To me, it's just amazing. It's like 30 points, And initially, the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes was down in the low 30s,
It was 33 when it debuted on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like insane.
And it's
We need
all,
an inquiry about that.
Well, yeah, but what it seemed to me though is when the audience started seeing it and it got that high score of 92, it's like they kind of said, well, maybe this isn't so bad. So
Yeah. But then a lot of the like Scott Mendelson and Grace Randolph, they're under the belief that audience score is kind of forced in a way by fanboys. Even though before any of the like Alita Challenge stuff happened, it was already well above 90, and it got it some A- cinema score, which basically confirms that there's no funny business with the audience ratings. But obviously, Alita's had to deal with a lot of like cultural stuff. It's probably not best to not get into here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even some of the critics that you mentioned there, like the opinion on how their viewpoints are skewed is discussed around the internet quite often.
Mm. True.
Well, definitely there's something enchanting about it because Alita, that is, because I think with the exception of Mike, I'm probably prior to 2019. I would have been like the second most least interested out of the 4 panel members here, because I've seen the anime a few times, again prior to 2019. I knew there was a manga, but never owned any of the volumes. And post 2019, I've got the deluxe box set. I've got Last Order, Mars Chronicles. I've got several Alita figurines. I've got the Hot Toys Alita. I own more Alita merch than I do Ninja Turtles, Dragon Ball Z.
Same.
And even if I was to throw in all of my computer games combined, whether it be Star Wars or Cyberpunk or something like that,
I'm sitting.
still
Go on,
come
sorry,
close
finish.
to. It still wouldn't come close to my
Same,
Alita.
nothing. I'm sitting here on my recliner looking at my life-size Alita bust, which costs like $3,000 or something. But it's like she's just like the best character like ever in my opinion, and I love her so much. So she's worth every penny.
Angelus, I got a similar experience to you because when I was growing up, I never owned any kind of action figure or anything like that. And I never played with dolls ever. I was kind of a rough kid, and so here I am at my age. I buy this Hot Toys Alita, and you got to put that outfit on her. And I kind of laughed at myself, saying, "Okay, all right, Gary, you know how old you are, and now you're dressing a doll."
No, it's all good.
Yeah,
embrace it.
Oh yeah,
embrace the doll dressing.
But it just seemed funny to me, that I'd never
Yeah,
done
for
that
sure.
ever, and now here I am at my age doing it.
It's James Cameron's fault. Look what he's turned us into.
Yes, it's Rosa's fault. So it is.
Oh yeah, for sure. Rose is the main culprit here.
Yeah, but look at that picture there on that one slide. How could you not fall in love with that character? I mean,
of course, she's just the best.
Yeah.
I have to say that that extent, now that you mention it, that does extend to Rosa as well.
Yeah.
Because again, pre 2019, I think my most favorite actor. I don't even think I even really had one. I liked my Donnie Yen movies. I liked my Scott Adkins movies. I like Chuck Norris movies and stuff like that. But I didn't really have a favorite actor, and then all of a sudden, bloody Rosa Salazar tapped me on the shoulder. I turn around and I'm like, who are these other people? Can they go away, please?
I
Because
didn't
right
understand
in front of me.
scanning until I saw Alita and Rosa Salazar.
Yeah, I loved it in that. I love that video where she says, "What's up, Army?" You know.
Yeah, yeah. She looks
Oh
right at
God,
the camera when she says
she
that.
she loves us guys. She really does. she thinks about us, I think. So.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna have to steal that, bloody, because that pretty much nails it dead center.
Yeah.
Like
What?
I didn't understand standing until I
Oh,
started
okay.
standing Alita because
Exactly.
yeah, and I'm not even ashamed of it. Like I don't
Everything
care.
about her is like top level artistry, in my opinion. Like the design of her body and
Yeah.
like the VFX on her face, the way it combines her look with the manga, and like it's like the same picture, but it's like different with Rosa Salazar's image. It's just like the ultimate artistic creation like we've ever made as mankind. Getting a bit, getting a bit over the top here, but it is. I do think it's like that good. Her as a character.
Hey, like
Yeah.
I've said on many occasions, like I reckon Alita is like the Mona Lisa of the digital age. So
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you stole that from me. I'm pretty sure. By the way.
Yeah.
actually,
I
I
think
probably did.
Yeah, yeah. Now you keep saying it, I'm like, okay, that's my line.
so. I think we kind of hit this one right here already, didn't we? Because we kind of talked about
We
those.
need more though. What we
Yeah, we
really
do.
need is a Queen Studios scale full body statue.
Yes.
That's the one we need. We're getting a new arm and a new full size statue, but nobody can afford that. We
I
need
want-
the scale statue.
You reckon how
What?
much one of those would cost?
It will be over $10,000 probably.
Yeah.
But if I'd only consider if it was like a pose I like really, really liked. This is sort of it's like the same one that the Weta Workshop made when they were promoting the film, the same sort of action pose,
Yeah.
which is like it's really great, and they've done her whole body and stuff. So obviously I'd love to have it, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to like mortgage my house for it,
Yeah.
which I may have actually done if it was something else.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny. Go ahead, Angelus. You go ahead.
I was going to say I'd still buy it anyway, just like I implied earlier, just because it's a leader. I mean, like now that I've got a good paying job, etc., like I'm just, like yeah, I buy the odd video game. Yeah, I do all sorts of nerdy stuff, play games, collector cards, stuff like that. But I guess the first thing that came to my mind when I got my first big paycheck is I wonder what Alita merch I could buy next.
Yeah.
And
Haven't you got everything already? I've got everything already.
Yes, you do, Bloody. Matter of fact, Bloody and I were trying to get something started, with the kind of like an not animated, but using Hot Toys Alita, to kind of do stuff with the animator, and of course that fell flat on its face when I started talking to the animator. But anyway, just want to digress there. I guess one funny story I'd like to share too is about Hot Toys Alita, because I had bought Cranberry Jam actually helped me buy a Hot Toys Alita, and telling me, who to get it from and that kind of stuff. And I bought this Hot Toys Alita and I got it in the mail, and I opened it up, and then a week later, I actually won the Harkins Theaters prize pack giveaway contest. And so they gave me a Hot Toys Alita. So now I got two Hot Toys Alita.
Yeah, I remember poor Star Star of Ilion. He got told he won that, and then they were like, "Oh, sorry, we didn't mean it." Felt so bad for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was probably disappointed, but
Mike, are you much of a collector? I assume not. Are you?
I'm not as much of a collector as I'd want to be, because it's a matter of, again, just do I want to be able to live in an apartment, or do I want a Hot Toys figure?
Yes.
Hot Toys every day, mate.
Well, I tell you what the Creek is thinking of doing, and everybody on the stream now, and probably it'll spread through the internet, is we might have us a little giveaway, and the Creek will buy a Hot Toys Alita, and we'll have a drawing for it. So that's what I've been playing with here recently. So
nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll rig the box, no problem.
Yeah, you'll rig the random number generator, right?
Play to win.
Yeah, Mike Reyes wins.
Yes.
So.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. So
Actually,
go ahead, Angelus.
I was going to say that's another question that I'd like to pick Mike's brain on when it comes to the movie world is how much does merch and potential merch or future merch play in a role of even getting the first movie off the ground, let alone future sequels if it gets popular enough?
Well, see, I really don't know because you used to be able to count on merch and home video sales to push these things along. I mean, never forget Arnold Schwarzenegger made a killing off of Batman and Robin because he took the percentage of the merch, and that merch flew off the shelves.
Yeah, it did.
So
Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, instead of tying himself to the grossing of the film, he tied himself to the merch, and the merch always comes out, mostly comes out beforehand.
I'm trying to think of some of his Freeze puns.
Tonight,
remember any?
Freeze is forecasted in Gotham. I don't know.
That was pretty good, Mike.
That was great.
I got that German accent down pretty good too, I think.
Well, part of my heritage.
Wait a minute, Reyes is Spanish.
Yeah.
Yes, well, I am. That is, I'm half Puerto Rican on my father's side.
Oh,
and then,
okay.
My quarter German on my mother's side, and then a quarter American mix from my grandfather on my mother's side.
Isn't Rose's dad Puerto Rican? Was that somewhere else?
He's Canadian, I think, isn't he?
Rose's dad? I thought he was, no. Well, he may have been from Canada, but...
Yeah.
Well, her mum's French. I thought her dad was Puerto Rican. Maybe not.
Well,
Puerto Rican or Peruvian, somewhere.
Yeah, I think it might be Peruvian, actually. Start with P.
Native American actress of Peruvian descent. Her father
That's
is Peruvian, and her mother is French Canadian.
Yeah, I got them mixed up. Peru and Puerto Rico, they sound sort of similar.
And I got them bass actors. Well, that's like a lot of us here in America. We're a melting pot, so
Puerto Rico, unfortunately, has no claim to Paddington Bear.
That's right.
But I'm sure he'd be welcomed with open arms.
I'll tell you what I want to get is that there's that one figure. It's about $1,500. It's I guess it's the manga figure of Alita, and she's kind of jumping over. I can't remember who. Maxie told me who it was, and I forgot what it was now. But she's got like two versions of her. One is her yelling, and the other one is her just with a regular face and stuff like that. But I can't remember who makes that thing. But I'm thinking
it's Prime One.
Prime One, that's right. Yeah. I'd like to have that one.
Same. I'd have to make my choices smarter.
Yeah.
Spend too much.
Folks, unfortunately, I have to jump off. It's getting to dinner time around here.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m. here.
We're going to wrap up. I think we're going to wrap up the stream here.
We've probably got like 50 more slides left.
No, we don't.
Okay, good.
No, the next one is a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Thank
you for having me on. I cannot wait to talk to you all again.
And we'll see you again soon.
I hope we have something more to talk about next time.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about the green light. We will talk about.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like not that we don't have things to talk about. I will course correct. I hope we have more valuable intel to discuss.
Yes. I'm just happy with any intel at all. So thanks to Cinema Blend for asking that question. That was a big.
Oh,
big
it was
boost.
great. Yeah, and next time you see Jeff, tell him the Alita Army really appreciates him.
Yeah, and Sean for writing the article.
Yeah.
Yes. That means a lot to me and to the team. So you keep reading, we'll keep writing.
It's on record now.
Yeah,
have a good night, guys.
Cheers, Mike. See you.
All right, Mike. We'll see you, man. Okay, I want to welcome Stefani Sung. He just joined us. How's it going, Stefani? And I think you may be. Yeah.
I'm good, Jay. Sorry about it. This is hot in California.
That's all right.
That's okay, Jay. Keep talking, guys.
Okay.
Guys.
Yeah, welcome to the stream. So
welcome, Safani,
yeah,
for a little stream.
yeah.
Have you been on it before?
No, I haven't been there in 3 years, and I wasn't there 3 years. I was,
Well, no, you've been on this stream 2 or 3 times, Safani.
yeah, maybe sometime, not too much, maybe sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was taking a break on the next week. The next time I'll be there, guys.
Yeah.
Where are you from again?
California.
Oh,
California.
cool.
Yeah.
California is Cali, I can't say.
Yeah.
I'm from, yeah, you can say California.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's
So
fine.
anyway,
Because there's a lot of bad people in mass shooting last week Sunday and mass shooting.
oh yeah.
I'm in
Yeah,
England. I don't hear about that.
I'm from Stockton, guys. So,
Yeah. Oh, Stockton's a nice area, man. That's real nice.
and next week is probably a different ways, guys.
Yeah,
Especially.
my late stepfather was from Stockton. So
I'm not Stockton, UK and England.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
I hear that.
So I think we already talked about this one a little bit about some Alita games, but it seems to me we don't have that many. The one game that I really would like to have is that Martian memory game if it was translated to English.
It's
Because
being translated.
Say again, Vladi?
They've translated it all now.
Have they translated it?
Yeah, there was a tweet recently about it.
Oh, I got to get that. I got to get that game.
I don't know how easy it is to set up or what. I haven't looked at it at all. Maybe it's not, but I swear someone tweeted that they've finished the translation of it.
Well, I think one of the things you're going to have to get is an emulator. Because it doesn't run native on Windows, obviously. So
yeah, that's easy though. Don't worry. People can help you if you want to play it.
Yeah. Oh, I got it.
If we run out of ideas, we could just stream it on the Alita Army live stream instead of the show.
And just play the game. Yeah.
Play the game and talk about Alita.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the things I do like doing from time to time is to watch Chaos Nova. He plays that game, and he is uncanny how he picks the right weapon, the right level up, the right power up, stuff like that.
I love that. He just keeps going.
Yeah. It's really neat. It's almost like watching the movie. I mean, of course it's not. I mean, the graphics aren't there, but because it's an older game, but it's still kind of fun to watch, I mean, it's like, hey, I'm watching Alita, something like that, so.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
So any thoughts about these Alita games? Because that's probably a pretty brief list right there.
Well, I've already said what I want. I want a good third-person open world action adventure with RPG elements.
Yeah.
That has like an unlimited budget, maybe VR as well. And
Yeah.
You can also like come outside of Alita, so you're not always, and then you can like change her clothes and stuff. Basically, I just want like a Hot Toys Alita in a video game.
Oh wow. No, that would be pretty cool.
That'd be the best. But that would obviously be a side thing.
Yeah,
you could like try her out with different bodies and stuff.
Yeah.
There could be lots of like cool mods. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, it would. Like you could try her in a berserker body and her tuned body or her imaginative
body and all kinds of bodies.
Yeah, that'd be
There's
neat.
Unlimited potential.
Yeah, I kind of like first-person shooters myself the best, but I'd like to be able to switch. I got one old game I play called Eradicator. And it's
I've not heard of that.
Yeah, it's a really old game. It came out in the mid-90s, but you can switch from first to third-person shooter. And you can see your character and stuff like that. So I wouldn't mind something like that with Alita too. So
there's a lot of shooting in the manga, isn't there?
Yeah,
there's a lot of shooting. I prefer first person, but Alita does a lot of hand-to-hand stuff with her sword and stuff, so that would work really well in third person.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay, Safani, what kind of game do you like?
I don't know what game I like. I remember 90s, 2000s, and old school games.
Okay.
I just mostly been playing cyberpunk game, and not a PC game, but not a PC. I'm a constant version.
Okay.
And I used to play Call of Duty and Battlefield.
Okay.
I love Battlefield. Well, I used to.
I like Battlefield. I used to play Battlefield, and nowadays talk to my friends online and trash talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just smack people talking.
Battlefield was the best.
Yeah, it's totally best to me.
Played it from the very first one, 1942.
Oh, I played
It
that
was
those
so
too.
much fun. You played that as well?
Yeah, I was a hardcore gamer back then. Nowadays,
Yeah,
no.
me too.
Old times.
No, it's a bit derivative. Well, just not very good anymore. From what I heard of the
Guys.
last one. But as far as the leader goes, I just play anything. As long as Rosa Salazar was doing the voice.
Oh
I just
yeah,
play it non-stop.
that's a requirement right there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it is. Angelus, I know you're a big game player. What's your favorite type of game? I think you're muted, Angelus.
Oh yeah. At the moment, it's a mix between Cyberpunk and Mass Effect.
Yeah.
I can see Alita like taking cues from either sort of what's the word, engine, I guess,
Yeah.
that the game plays on, because you can sort of decide. I guess in Cyberpunk, you can decide not only decide what clothes they wear, but what cybernetics you can install onto your character. So you could extend that to the cyborg parts, and like how you want Alita's berserker body to perform.
Didn't you put together an Alita type character in Cyberpunk 2077? Did you do that?
No, someone else did,
Oh,
because
okay.
so quite often I play mostly male characters, because I guess in a way I'll put a piece of myself into the character, but there's nothing wrong with like having, I guess, pre-generated characters. Like, well, I know you can choose a male or female character in Mass Effect. Like you can also change the design looks as well, or you can stick with like the default that they give you, and just out of convenience, I just stick with the default. But yeah, in terms of the actual game mechanics, yeah, a mix between Mass Effect and Cyberpunk, because
Yeah.
Cyberpunk isn't exactly open world per se compared to something as big as Skyrim, for example, because you got like a billion different side missions and storylines that you could go with for there. But I mean, at the same time, a lot of people would play the game because it has a leader in it. So of course you'd
Yeah.
want to play a leader as a character, and you want to do the missions that pertain to a leader's story. It's
Yeah.
almost like not Battlefield, but Battlefront, which is like the Star Wars version of it. Like, yes, you could play, like, you generally play as like a standard clone trooper or one of the droids of the Confederacy or something like that.
Yeah.
But, depending on the game mechanics, sometimes, a random, like, PC player or a live human player can choose to take on the role of one of the heroes, whether it be Anakin or Yoda, even, or Ayla Secura, or any of the Jedi, for example, because that, I believe, became an option in Battlefront 2. So like even if they were to do like a first-person shooter type of game, they could do that. Who knows?
Yeah, I really like first-person shooter games. That's my favorite thing right there.
Yeah, I don't think it would be the best option for Alita.
Probably not, because you wouldn't get to see much of her unless you have like that one game I play where you can play that old game Duke Nukem too. I'm not a big game player. I just don't play that much. But there was that game called Duke Nukem that you could switch between first and third person. And that would probably be passable. But I kind of agree with you. If she's doing hand-to-hand fighting, it'd look a lot neater if it was a third-person type thing, kind of like like the Martian memory game, you know.
The switching idea is really good. I'd love that because I hate first person. I mean, I hate shooting games that are third person. I much prefer. But then I'd rather use a mouse on my keyboard. So
Yeah.
it's a hard bet. Hard thing to balance.
Well, again, Mass Effect sort of balances it out. Like, I mean, sure, some people might say it has faults and they have valid opinions, but I feel that Mass Effect balances out the best between first and third person shooting because basically, long story short, the game plays, or rather can play as a first person shooter, but it's done from a third person perspective. And that's like not an easy feat to pull off.
Yeah. Charlie Smith asks an interesting question. Are we planning anything to help Rosa, you know, with getting an Alita series or
I was just replying to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. What should we do? I tried to pose this in Twitter. We didn't get that much of a response. But I think we should do something now because we know they're pushing hard and Avatar 2 is coming up at the end of the year. So we should do something like a billboard outside Disney HQ, or I don't think a letter campaign would do anything because it wouldn't get any coverage. It's got to be something that's public, such as a billboard or another flyover. Can we just fly around Disney like multiple times?
Yeah, or yeah, exactly. Just kind of circle the area, make sure they see it. I don't know. The creek could put a bunch of money into a billboard. I think help with that.
Yeah, I could help too.
Yeah.
We could probably tap into the billboard for a little bit longer, but like while I can't think of any ideas immediately, I think we need something like either how shall I phrase this? Either a fresh medium of communicating with Disney and telling them what they want, or like a fresh approach using an old medium, whether it be a billboard or banner or whatever sort of thing, you know, or whether it be another fundraiser or who knows.
You know, Charlie Smith brought up something a while ago about Disney projecting an Alita movie it'd only make $300 million. You know, I agree with him that they're wrong because how could they say that when the original movie made $405 million? You know, I mean, are they lowballing it on purpose or what? You know, I don't. You know, it doesn't make sense to me that they would think that now that there is an Alita Army, you know, certainly we're going to help them market it for sure, you know, at least at our level, that surely they would think that it would do better than $400 million. You know, you would think
I'm almost positive they know. I feel the question that they're asking is how much they can milk from it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they made, like, I mean, you can counter correct me, but I feel that they made $404 million, like, best case scenario when the Alita Army was at its infancy.
Yeah.
Because we had nowhere near the amount of engagement back then as we do now.
Yeah.
We had nowhere near the amount of casual fans back then where we do now.
Yeah.
And, you know, like even like I'm even seeing more and more Snyder Cut guys jump on the Alita bandwagon.
Yeah.
And we mentioned earlier that we're seeing more and more casual random fans you know, just mention the word Alita, and not any single one of those did I ever feel like it was for clout or for clicks. Like,
Yeah.
they were genuine, like, some of them were actual genuine, like, what the fuck? Why doesn't this have a sequel yet? Because it's a good movie. It left it on a cliffhanger. It's got all the ingredients. Like, they're probably thinking themselves, but they don't want to admit it, that, you know, there are other movies that had less of it going, that had less competition, and they've got sequels. But
Yeah. Plus, I think the original movie was poorly marketed too. I don't think Fox did a very good job on that. And you can, I mean, you can understand it. I don't agree with it because, you know, they were in the midst of that merger, you know, or being bought out by Disney. But I think one of the reasons that Alita only grossed 405 million in the box office, I think it's done more than that because of the Blu-ray sales, you know. But you know, I just think that
It's done at least 50 million $50 million at the home box office. But that, and that was like years ago they said that, so it's probably a lot more than that.
It's probably more than that now, yeah. So, and plus it's been on several streaming services, which means they get some kind of, they got to get some kind of what's akin to a royalty to it. So, you know, it's certainly going to be more than 400 million. Now, Charlie did bring up a fact that they don't suspect that China would allow an Alita sequel. Possibly. I don't know why they wouldn't, though. I mean, if they could make money.
They let Avatar in, right?
I'm not sure about that. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know why don't it's weird what films they allow and which they don't in China.
Yeah, especially his point too that John Wick, you know, John Wick 2 grossed twice as much as John Wick 1. And how many times have we seen tweets where people have said, "I wish I had seen this when it came out in the movies. I had no idea how good this movie was," you know, and I know the Creek thought that. I thought that.
I see it all the time. And Charlie's right. I think he's absolutely right where he says that John Wick 2 grossed more than twice, like you said, and the sequel probably grossed 600 or 800. I think that's about the right ballpark for Alita 2. But they've wasted so much time already. And unfortunately, people do forget stuff.
Yeah. Well, I still think
they're going to do it soon, but that's why I don't think they'll wait too long as well.
Well, I do think that with Cameron and Rodriguez and Rosa pushing it like this, I think, you know, as long as we can keep it current.
Yeah, I'm still sure it's going to happen. I hate to see Charlie losing hope over that.
Yeah.
Sad. Come on, Charlie, don't worry. I still think they're going to get it. Like, Rosa seemed really positive.
Yeah.
And Cameron, we know how much Cameron loves Alita. So does Rodriguez.
Well, you heard what he said.
People are missing. Rodriguez loves her more than people think. People say, "Oh, he just took it to do a favor for Cameron," but this is his sort of wheelhouse, like a badass hot female character with like a body replaced by machine. He always does that. It's his. He's definitely pushing hard, and we know that's why he did Boba Fett. He's probably really pissed off at the fans. He hasn't been on social media once since episode 2.
Well, yeah, but on Boba Fett, there were a lot of haters that got involved.
Yeah, but it's just the reality. We have to deal with that. There are a lot of haters out there. And I bet Rodriguez is pissed off about that.
Well, I don't think you have as many haters with Alita 2 as we did with the first one. Now, I came in on the tail end of the hater thing at the end of the...
Well, I wasn't there before the film came out. So I missed when like the real bullying and stuff was really happening to Alita. But yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, nothing. I just don't. I remember that when I first joined the Alita Army after I saw the movie the first time, I kind of came in on the tail end of all the haters putting all those hateful tweets out, you know, and one of them called me an alt-right misogynist. So, and I said, okay, guys, I'm not a misogynist, but anybody that knows me knows I'm not alt-right. So
we're just dealing with like, I don't know, they call us bots, but really they're like totally programmed. So they're all, it's just ironic.
Yeah. I just think Alita 2 would just do really well. You know, I think it would gross at least 800 million, and it might even make $1 billion. You know, especially if it was like after it come on the heels of say Avatar 2. You know, and they marketed it being done by James Cameron and stuff like that, and knowing how, you know, that they put that effort into, you know, really make it in not just presentable, but you know, their dedication to the quality of the movie. I just think it would fly. I do. But now
I do as well. But the quality of the movie
yeah.
didn't help Alita 1 with critics.
Well, that's true. You're true. You're right. And when I saw the trailers, it didn't nail me the first time either. But I
Yeah,
think
well,
now,
because trailers are misleading. You're never sure with trailers.
yeah,
Like,
that's right.
you see a great trailer and it's just like another MCU movie when you come down to
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that's right. Well, I like MCU movies, but you're right. You know, you really can't tell from a trailer. You really can't.
Yeah, some are okay.
Okay, he says hard to predict how Avatar 2 is going to do. Yeah, I guess I agree with you on that, Charlie. But I'll tell you, I think if Avatar 2 grosses $1 billion to start out, you know, in the short run, not first week, obviously, it's not going to do that. But if it grossed $1 billion, say in the first year or so, or whatever it was, you know, I think Alita, and they marketed it that right, I think Alita would just catch on fire.
Creek. You know what was
Yeah.
trending today in my country?
No.
Hashtag lockdown, and the Prime Minister was like saying, "Oh, we're not ruling out another lockdown." So can you just imagine if they did another lockdown over Christmas and it killed Avatar 2?
Oh, that'd be horrible.
That would be like the worst. I'd be on the streets, man. Like, you're killing our Alita sequel. I'm going to protest. This is the reason I'm here. I just want. I'll have my placard up with all the rioters. Like, I just wanted an Alita sequel. Now I'm out here storming. You know.
Oh, I wish Creek was a billionaire. I'd do an Alita sequel. I'd go buy it from Disney.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed in Elon Musk. Why can't Elon Musk just buy it from him?
Yeah.
Disney.
He's too busy wanting to go to Mars. So.
I guess so.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think we've hit all this pretty hard.
Are we out of slides? Oh, we got one more.
No, we're not out of slides. Well, I don't have 99 slides. I don't have that. You know.
You have 999.
Something like that. Yeah. So, did we miss anything, you guys?
What was the main topic again?
The probability or the likelihood of an Alita sequel.
Okay, yeah. I think I think it's high. I'm trying to say the word. I think the probability, that's the one I'm looking for, is high.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think, Angelus?
Keep on muting my mic.
Yeah, once you get your mic unmuted, yes.
Yeah, because I don't want any background noise feeding into my headset.
Yeah.
I usually mute it on the headset as opposed to muting it on StreamYard.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we didn't really miss anything at all. I mean, like I said, most of the questions I had for Mike were answered, and I got the new ones that did come as a result of that. Asked.
It's nice having Mike on again.
Yeah, it was.
Indeed.
Yeah, when I DM'd him, boy, he was all over it. He, you know, oh yeah, I want to come on and talk about this, you know.
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
Yeah, he is. Stefani Sung, anything did we miss that you might want to bring up?
Yeah, so I'm reading Charlie's messages.
Yeah.
I always appreciate Charlie's takes.
Oh,
Are you ever going to give up, Charlie? Please say you'll never give up.
Nah.
No, I have to wait 5 minutes for the delay.
I don't think Alita will let him give up.
No, you can't ever give up on Alita.
One thing I would say about what Charlie says here in the short term, I would say
exactly.
Well, my thing would be is like I said during the stream earlier, is what I think they'll do is they're going to go for a series first. You know, maybe that motorball series of her in the second league, something like that. They go for that first, and they just see how successful it is. And of course, they're building on the story and the character when they do it too. So they're really killing two birds with one stone. But I think they'll do that first, then they'll maybe go for the sequel, particularly after Avatar 2 and possibly Avatar 3. You know, and they see how successful that is. And I think as time goes on, I think that probability, Charlie, will go up from 30% to say maybe 80% eventually. is what I think. You know,
Considering it was adapted from a book, if I'm not mistaken, I
yeah,
think the series would do well, especially if it was very cherry flavor-esque
yeah,
in design. Because Brand New Cherry Flavor only got one season, but it worked as such. And there's there's still like a possibility of expanding on that. Should Rosa be available? Should the author uh, want to make more money from it? Who knows? But bringing it back to Alita, I can definitely see them doing that. Second league section, or covering that time skip, if you will,
yeah.
or even going back in time and covering the Erm Wars and how that came to be. And
I mean, it would all be so cool. They could do anything.
Yeah.
It's just such a shame they haven't.
yeah,
Disney sucks, man.
because I know, as I mentioned earlier, with Underworld, for example, their third movie, Rise of the Lycans, that had a completely different character. Completely, like there was only one character in it that was linked to the current Underworld series of movies, and they sort of tied it into the beginning of the first one, so seamlessly, sort of thing, and yeah.
I think Charlie, I see where you're coming from on that one, Charlie. I would say is, I think if Rodriguez does the series, well, of course it would depend on what Disney gave him, in terms of what the budget and stuff like that is, like he points out there. But I think if Rodriguez did it, if he kind of was executive producer and directed some of the episodes, stuff like this, I don't think it would be an inferior Alita series. Now, certainly it could become inferior if Disney just under budgeted it. I think, yeah, maybe then we would be in big trouble. I'd be pretty upset myself.
Cameron wouldn't do it if they under budgeted it. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't do it. Yeah, that's exactly right. But I think if he got a significant budget,
it would need much higher budget than the Book of Boba Fett.
Probably, yeah, probably would be.
That's just a fact. So I think Cameron will force them to do a sequel and theatrical.
I hope you're right. So.
Yeah, me too. And I agree with Hybrid. The probability is the highest it has ever been. All stars seem to align except for one. And yeah. I don't know. I think like they wouldn't be this public about pushing for it.
Yeah.
If they weren't optimistic, at least.
Well, you remember what Rosa said when she talked to James Cameron. That I am so down. In other words, I'm down with doing an Alita sequel.
Yeah. But Charlie first thought that meant I'm so down. I'm depressed.
Oh no, I don't think so. No.
Maybe it was coded, Creek. Maybe it was a code. It could have been like a cry for help, like I'm so down. Cameron is saying. So like he's saying Disney are being dickheads.
Help me,
exactly.
Army. Help me.
Maybe it's a code like that, and we need to do something drastic ASAP.
Yeah.
So we need to fire up the jet again and do another, the plane and fly another banner or something.
Yeah, I don't know. We do something. Yeah.
I have to also before we finish up, go back to Tommy's tweet in that her story is far from over.
Oh, Tom Holkenberg. I was trying to figure out who Tommy was.
Yep.
Tommy, yeah. I thought you were talking about Tommy Boy.
Oh, no, Tommy as in Tom Holkenborg.
Yeah. Exactly. Why would he say that? Yeah. That's obvious. And then he did the winky thing to Rodriguez in his reply, like, say hello to Rodriguez, because Rodriguez is in hiding from lunatic Star Wars.
Yeah.
So he can't come on social media because those guys are a bunch of well, I don't want to say anything rude, but
Sorry.
What was I talking about? Sorry, I was just laughing too much at Star Wars fans.
Yeah, yeah.
I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, no problem.
What were we talking about? Tell me.
Be right back.
Well, I know one thing.
What?
Alita loves her Uncle Creek.
Of course. Alita loves
Yeah.
us all,
Yeah, she does.
and we
That's
love her
our,
too.
that's our girl right there. You betcha. And yeah, there she is. She
We're not
definitely
supposed to
loves.
use that edit. We're not supposed to use that edit.
Oh, why not?
Johnny Sci-Fi hates it.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Johnny.
He despises it.
I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool for me, but
It is fake. It's not really Rosa's smile. So and I think it's cute, but looking at it more, I can sort of see his perspective. The
Now,
big,
I hadn't thought of that. I hadn't thought about that.
it is cute. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't really have a problem with it, but I can see because it's not the subtle smile I use for Hot Toys Alita. You know, the little like Mona Lisa
Yes.
smile.
Yeah.
That looks natural because it's only a tiny shift of the edge of her mouth going up a little bit.
You do that
But
with
when you have to like give her teeth and stuff, and it's not her teeth, and the cheeks are not exactly the same as Rose's, the way they the creases are and stuff. I think it's it's not, these edits aren't the best, these face apps.
All right, so I think Creek will reconsider putting this in future streams then.
You can keep it. I don't mind really. I'm just being stupid.
Yeah, that's all right, man. Oh, I wanted to say one
Let me
other
read
thing.
Hybrid again. I'm always on the same page as Hybrid.
Yeah.
Rosa was very optimistic in that interview. She loves Alita, but she loves honesty.
Yeah, that's right.
She wouldn't go to these lengths if they didn't have a reason to do so. They best know how the industry works. Yeah. These guys know. Like, she would have been speaking to Rodriguez and Cameron. That's why she's got this new hope.
Yeah.
Because she met with Rodriguez at SSXW. They're probably like, okay, Star Wars wasn't like quite the massive colossal hit that we were hoping for in every respect.
Yeah.
But there was obviously big reason to be optimistic.
Yeah.
And that's why Rosa was like that.
By the way, I just wanted to say one other thing too, Bloody. It was pretty cool this morning, that little thing we did, or you did for Samuel, you and Tilly. You know, that was really class in my opinion. You guys, you know.
Yeah, I was I felt I had to do that because I met Tilly at the charity viewing. It was my final Alita viewing, so it was really like serendipitous.
Yeah.
That I got to meet Tilly on the very last cinema viewing I had. I got to like go up to her and shake her hand and stuff. So when we were doing the handover and Tilly was going to be hosting it, and the lady from Open Bionics said, she said, "Oh, you can have someone to like be there," or she said we sort of should. So, and I was like, okay, I better do this because like people weren't really rushing for it anyway.
Well, I didn't know about it. I didn't know about it until like the day before or something. Whenever I think you.
Yeah, we didn't make that much of a song and dance about it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we know we're not like a massive fandom and stuff. We are sort of like a close little knit. There is kind of like a family atmosphere to it.
Yeah. Yeah. We are.
So this is more, we're all just like really proud to have done this for that boy Samuel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He really seemed happy to get it too.
He did, yeah. And his mum's reaction was just the best.
It was.
I'm looking forward to the video they make of that.
Yeah.
It's a bit awkward though. You'll see my ugly face.
Well, if you get involved with another one, if you get another one with those type of things, then we'll figure out a way to record it. You know.
Well, we did record it. We got a recording.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, we got one in the end.
Okay, nice.
Well, I knew it was fine. Yeah, so they've got a recording of that. We can't publish it yet until Open Bionics said they were going to do a flashy edit of it.
Okay.
So we have to wait for that.
So we don't
have. It was
to,
really good.
So we don't have to do any editing of it if we're not going to get the.
Well,
raw
I've given.
video, right?
Don't worry, Creaky. It's all in hand. I passed it on to Pooley, I suggested to him he could make a short little 2-minute edit or something with all the nice parts. They could have some dramatic music and stuff to go along with it. And it will look nice. Because the unedited raw footage, it was kind of okay. So I was expecting to meet up with them 15 minutes before it started and go over the order of how we're going to do it. Yeah. But we sort of just jumped straight into it. So it was a little bit more awkward than I like, but I think it will be edited down to a nice little thing.
How late was I coming on?
Not that late. Okay. You joined fairly early on. We were waiting for a while. It was supposed to start at 3, but then it started at like 15:15 or something.
Yeah. Well, if I'd have known, well, of course, Angelus told me that I could only be an observer, which is okay. I didn't.
Yeah, it was really confusing. That's why I was hoping we'd have the 15 minutes to sort this out before it started, but we didn't. So
that's all right. Well, it still worked out though. Still was.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did my best. I'm kind of an introvert, so a little bit awkward. I had my Alita. I set my Alita shrine up behind me.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Obviously done intentionally.
Nice.
Yeah. You'll be able to spot things like it'll be the orange, the little Alitas, all the fun stuff.
What about the little Alita that's got the prosthetic foot?
She's in. Yeah. She's back in Alita Hospital, I'm afraid.
Uh-oh, what's happened to her?
The foot fell off again. I mean, I glued it on, so it's not as safe and secure as it was before, and it fell off again. So, and I haven't been bothered to stick it back on. Sorry, I found a cheap replacement.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
My guess is Cameron. I'm just reading Charlie's tweet message. My guess is Cameron is counting on Avatar 2 to change Disney's mind. Yeah, hopefully. The trailer hits on May 6th. So the trailer's on May 6th, is it? That's pretty soon. Oh God, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Very fair. Because I liked Avatar. I thought it was like a beautiful movie and stuff.
Yeah, I did too.
But I was never like a super fan. So now it's weird. Like I'm suddenly like really rooting for Avatar 2 to do well.
Well, what spoke to me about Avatar was, it's got that whole thing about the Na'vi, and that kind of spoke to me a lot of my ancestors.
Yeah.
So
I love the best kind of the best kind of fiction is related to that kind of like deeply primal human tribal stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of why I like Book of Boba Fett, because it had the Did you watch that, Creek? Book of Boba Fett?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so it was cool the way it had like the Haka dance and stuff.
Yep.
And he was becoming a member of the Tatooine the Sand People's tribe.
Yeah, the Tusken Raiders.
Tuskens, yeah. And I really liked that. It was really cool on like an anthropological level, I suppose. But I don't know. The fans are just like completely stupid. That's the only conclusion I could gain, because I thought there was like lots of really interesting stuff in that show. But
I think the fact
this is why Alita only made $400 million, because the masses.
Well, I think though that with the fact that the Rotten Tomatoes audience score was 70, I think more fans liked it than didn't like it. But yeah, there were haters out there, that's for sure. So
yeah, but the ratings were fine, so it can't be a knocking it. Well, it might be, because I think Disney do listen to a lot of stupid people in like a lot of different ways.
Well, as long as they didn't get that green splat, we're good, So
I guess so. They could have left her at 59, but then they would have looked like awful Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like 100%, like not even in question. They only put her up to above 60.
61.
It was like engineered in a way to get her so they wouldn't look so terrible.
Yeah.
Like it's like, for me, it's like literally an outrage that her score's so low. But you know what? The public still need to catch up. We're working on it. As we're working on the sequel, we're working on it.
Yeah, that's right.
As Rosa says. We'll get there, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Charlie. The sequel's coming.
Yeah, that's right. There's our queen right there, boy. That is, she's #1 in Creek's book, that's for sure, So, and I'm happy that she's really positive about it too. That made my day when I first saw that thing, boy. It was great.
I love seeing her positive. She's just the best person in the world.
Yep. Okay, Angelus, you want to talk about this one? Who are you going to be the host tomorrow? Or is Maxie? I don't remember seeing it in the show notes. So.
I'll be. Sorry.
That's all right.
I'll be. Well, hang on. Will I be hosting tomorrow? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll be hosting tomorrow, just to give Maxie a bit of a break as well.
Yeah. So you want to talk about this a little bit, or?
I'd have to bring up the show.
Oh, that's all right. Well, anyway, join us.
Well, we can see what it's about. I can talk about it if you want. So it's obviously going to be about what life is like in Zalem in the manga and the movie.
Yeah. So, of course, we don't know what it's like in the movie yet, do we? But we will. We will.
I might not watch this one.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, we do know what it's like in the manga. That's for sure. So, anyway.
Yeah, I've got a rough idea, but
Yeah.
I've not looked too closely at it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, I think we've beat this up enough. Why is this image here? Well, we know why this image is here because the Creek likes it. And
Right.
to paraphrase, and I'm running the stream. That's why it's there.
It's your
And
stream, mate.
that's right. Well, it's mine and Angelus's stream. But anyway, to paraphrase Grishka, I'm only here for our girl and the Alita Army. Of course, we're all here for our girls, so that's the main thing. So,
Indeed.
yep.
Love how we've turned his saying against Alita. We've inverted it.
Yes, we have.
That's
right.
I like that.
All right. So anyway, if there's no last thoughts, I guess we will do the call to action. And there it is, right there.
What's the call? Oh, okay, I see it.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So on my count of 3, that would be 1, 2, 3.
Build those sequels, baby.
Baby. All right.
Don't worry,
Good night.
I'm staying
Good
positive.
day, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Radio Chaos.
We'll never give up.
Never.